What is going on, everyone, and welcome in to this live stream watch party for the Dallas Stars and the Columbus Blue Jackets. What's up, everyone? My name is Jeremy.
And I'm Laura.
And together we make up Subjectively Speaking on the Hockey Podcast Network. We couldn't be more excited to be here with you all for our first live stream of the year. We've been waiting. I've been excited for it. This one finally made sense, and here we are to talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets, right? Like maybe that's what they are right now. We'll get into a little bit of why we say that, but Laura, this is a fun matchup against the Stars. It's going to be a test for the Jackets.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, like you mentioned, mostly we are the Columbus Blue Monsters right now, as basically a good majority of our players have been loaned to us from the Cleveland Monsters due to just an incredibly terrible bout of luck with injuries in the early part of this season. And we learned today that Captain Boone Jenner has to have surgery and will be out for 4 weeks. He played 2 games last week with a broken thumb, and we'll discuss that a little later, I'm sure. And then also sophomore rookie Cole Cylinder will also be out today, but he is day to day. And of course, we also have like some goalie drama going on, and it wouldn't be a Blue Jackets game day if something absolutely insane didn't happen.
Yeah, it feels pretty typical for us. We're pretty used to this, so maybe we can let you in. If you're a masochist and you want to hear a little bit more about what it's like to be a Blue Jackets fan this season specifically, we are here to give that to you folks. But when you see and you look here, courtesy of Flash Score, looking at the players that are just out of the lineup for the Jackets tonight, and some of these names for us, Laura, are like, well, yeah, like we're not. Yep, that's Jake Bean's going to probably be out for the season. Justin Danforth is out for the season. Zach Werenski is out for the season. Jakub Voracek is probably out for the season and hopefully not longer, but who knows at this point. It's really when you get into the Boone Jenner and Cole Cylinder recent additions to this list where you're like, what is going on in this in this hellscape of a Columbus, Ohio right now. And before we get the game started, obviously want to shout out some of our watchers. We've got Sean here with us. We've got Jason. How's it going, y'all? And Sean says, I feel like I remember you, but I'm not sure. And that's because, my friend, it's been a minute. It has been a minute, but I do remember specifically your Jif peanut butter profile picture. I do remember that. So if nothing else, memory serves me right there. And our good friend Dylan says, Connor Bedard and Johnny Hockey would be quite the combo, eh? And sure would, but
Dylan, I'm so glad that you have faith. I'm so glad that you have faith that the hockey gods would allow Columbus to get the first overall draft pick this summer, because that's never happened. So
yeah, the one time it did, the one time that the Blue Jackets were able to secure the first overall draft pick, it's because they made a trade with Florida. I believe it was Florida back in the 2002 draft, 2 Rick Nash draft. Anyway, yes. They made the trade up to 1, and it was basically like a gentleman's agreement that if in the next year the Columbus draft pick was higher than the Florida draft pick, they would just swap. But naturally, the Blue Jackets did finish better than the Panthers, so the Panthers had a better spot. So nothing even happened with that draft pick. It is probably one of the weirder trades right up there. The Blue Jackets have a lot of weird draft history, like with trades specifically, like back in the Ryan Murray, Nail Yakupov year. I think it was 11. Was that 2011? The New York Islanders reportedly offered the Blue Jackets every one of their picks in that draft for the second overall pick. And as a Blue Jackets fan who feels okay about Ryan Murray, I still think I would have felt okay about that trade. I mean, like, that's such a wild thing to say no to.
I meant to text you this earlier. He hurt his back again.
You sound way too excited about
it. I'm not excited. It's just the irony of it all.
It is pretty wild.
Poor Ryan Murray.
He's a little bit of a China doll. We have a little bit of an inside joke as Blue Jackets fans. Right now, you'll see as you look at that Will Not playlist, you see Adam Boquist. Adam Boquist wears number 27, which was the jersey that Ryan Murray wore when he was in Columbus. So all of us kind of think that's a little bit of a cursed number, to be honest. Manny Malhotra wore it back in the day. And I honestly was too young, I think, to remember what Manny Malhotra's injury history was like. So if somebody wants to look that up and let me know in the chat, that would be great. But I digress. Sean's got a little bit of a prediction for us. So Sean wants the Jackets to win, and that's what matters, Sean, because so do we. But you also think that the Stars will win, and that's okay, Sean, because so do we.
Honestly, Sean, as long as the Blue Jackets get a goal, this will be a win for us.
Yeah, we're spending a lot of time looking at who will not play. Is this list just the Blue Jackets? Are the Stars out here healthy?
They're pretty healthy from what I know.
Works. Like I was like, this list is simply just.
In all fairness, though, they had a lot of injuries last year, so
that's true. They're making up for it this year. And honestly, the Stars look really good this year, y'all. Like I feel like Jason Robertson, I feel like everybody can kind of agree. Nobody really dislikes the guy. Like he's fun to watch. He's good at what he does. I mean, I don't have any gripes. So got some more comments here. Donnell is back. We remember Donnell. Oh, it's you guys. It's us guys. I haven't seen you guys in a long time. Welcome back. We're glad you're here. And Jacob's back. Jack Eichel's biggest fan. And Jacob loves to let us know about our own team. And so Jacob's saying Miro and Jason Hattie. 7-1 Stars win. I mean, if they pick up, listen, Jacob, if they make that happen, you're going to send me your Venmo and I'm going to buy you a drink. How about that? If you're 21 or if you're in Canada, you're 19.
Can I ask him who he thinks is going to get the 7th goal if the two of them are both getting a Hattie? I really just want to, I'm just curious.
Just who's the one? Who's the other person?
If it could be Tyler Seguin, that would be great. He's on my fantasy team.
As you said that, I was like, oh man, did I set my fantasy lineup? And I did. So I'm feeling really good. I squeaked it out last week. I'm sitting at 500. It's a time. My fantasy team's not great.
Oh, I won by a mile last week, but that's because I was playing our beautiful friend Danny, and she never sets her roster. So,
I mean, hey, they're showing.
She had Sergei Bobrovsky, so she would have murdered me in points last week.
They're showing the starting goalies in the tail of the tape here. Jay Gottinger, a 2.42 goals against and a 920 save percentage with 2 shutouts. I mean, I would kill for that kind of goaltending in Columbus. Daniil Tarasov, who is starting this game, this is kind of that goaltender drama that Laura alluded to a little bit earlier. He's kind of the presumed third string goaltender, but obviously we've talked about these injuries. Jonas Korpisalo is somebody who the Jackets have really leaned on a little bit this year. He's played really well. And so, for him to be out for about a week or two, he's week to week, a little bit disappointing for Columbus, but it meant Daniil Tarasov came on up from Cleveland and he's gotten the last 3 games, y'all. I mean, it's a fascinating conundrum because Elvis Merzlikins, the presumed Blue Jackets #1 goaltender, and he's paid like it, folks. It just hasn't had it this season. He's really looked rough, and Columbus is riding the presumed hot hand. Obviously, 3-game losing streak here for the Jackets, but it's happening somehow, some way. I don't know. He's playing well. I mean, he's losing games, but I think the team in front of him is losing the games more than he is.
Yes, and it's in his last 2 starts, the games have been lost solely in the third period, when the rest of his team in front of him has just given up. And had some, I mean, they've pushed really, really well and played really well in periods 1 and 2 in our last 2 games. And then the third period, things just seem to go off the rails, and poor Terry, he just gets the back end of it. Oh, that's not good.
Oh, is this Igor Chinnikov down on the ice for the Jackets?
Yep. And he's
not putting any pressure on his leg.
Cool.
It is a minute and 20 seconds into this game, folks. It is a minute and 20. What happened? Oh, he got rolled up on. Oh, man.
Oh, no. So I don't know if all of you know this, but it's a really great time to own and operate a business that circulates around the Columbus Blue Jackets, just so everyone's aware.
Please be okay.
I don't know that he is.
I've never rooted for the welfare of a Russian like I am right now. Let me tell you. My God.
Things are off to a great start.
Yeah,
Awesome
we're having
time.
a good time. Oh man. All right, well, let's stop thinking about hockey. And let's Donnell has a question about what's your guys' favorite reverse retro 2.0 jerseys and your least favorite? Oh
Ooh.
man. I
We talked about this on our show.
Yeah, I might need a second to think about it. That might be a good intermission question. What do you think? Do you feel good about that as an intermission?
Yes,
question?
I'm going to come up with a legit answer, but I also want to say just right now that, and I'm sure I'm going to piss some people off, but Toronto's aren't a reverse retro of anything. They're like last year's jerseys. So that seems like, and that's not on Toronto. That's really on like the design team that just like didn't try with one of the like biggest fan bases that exist in the National Hockey League. So that's more so I feel bad for Toronto. But yeah, let's do that intermission so we have like a minute to look back at them.
Correct. And I will say, just to say it, not my favorite in the league, but the Jackets 2.0 is a lot better than the 1.0. That's what I've got on right now.
That is true. You are wearing our reverse retro jersey right now.
I am, yeah. The one time, and I think the entire month of December that the Jackets aren't wearing one on the ice, I am wearing one in my home.
Yeah,
but
all the other home games, I believe they're wearing the reverse retro.
So yeah, I mean the Jackets. What an interesting start to this game. Igor Chinnikov. I haven't seen him back on the bench. This is part of the downside of a watch along. So I have pretty severe ADHD, and so I wanted to put a headphone in to like be able to listen to the broadcast. There's no way I could do that and also live stream effectively. So
yeah, here
we are. But I'm sure Jackets fans, if you're watching and you know what's going on, let us know in the comments and we'll throw it up here. But yeah, I mean, this is peculiar for the Jackets. I mean, they just called up Josh Dunn. Josh Dunn is a center. He's been playing most of the season in Cleveland. Hasn't had terrible stats. I think he's got 17 points in 23 games, 6-11, 17. Cleveland scores at will. Like that offense down there in the AHL is just stupid. But he's getting a chance. He's been up at the big squad before. This isn't his first rodeo here. Got a 2-on-1 here for Dallas. Let's see how this one materializes. And great stop by Terry. A little bit of a rebound there, but Dallas isn't able to get to it. And so that one gets cleared out and we will keep playing hockey. So that's a win. But yeah, I mean, it's just a unique situation because Josh Dunn gets called up earlier today in practice. Liam Foudy was skating on the fourth line, and he ends up getting subbed out for Josh Dunn, which is just an absolute referendum on where Liam Foudy is with the Blue Jackets at this point. And so not great, but he might end up playing tomorrow against Philadelphia, right, Philly?
Yeah, tomorrow against Philadelphia.
Philly, right?
What?
I said in Philly, right?
Yeah, no, they leave tonight immediately after the game. So, but yeah, and Liam Foudy is like kind of the boy who slipped through the cracks. Like he had such promise when we drafted him, and then just due to like timing and circumstances and other things that were going on in the big club when he came into our system, like he's just really gotten the short end of the stick. And Jeremy and I talk about this all the time. I feel terrible for him. He's like the first draft pick of a draft that I like when I was first starting to pay attention to things, and so I feel a lot of like sentimental things towards Liam Foudy, and I just feel he's got skill and he's got talent. It's just that we have not done what we needed to do in his development. And now because of how waivers work, he is in this constant state of limbo, because as much as we have floundered his development, we also have a fear of trying to send him down to the Monsters where he could get some playing time because he has to go on waivers. And while it might not always show...
Man rush.
Oh, dear.
Ooh.
That was a lot of people inside the goal.
Yeah, who's hurt now? Why not?
Looks like it might be Andrew Peak. Good gracious.
Oh, he actually might be hurt. No.
Ooh.
No, he's fine.
You have to forfeit if you lose too many players, right?
I don't think so. I don't think. Let's watch this hit real quick. Let's see how this goes. I mean, decent enough play stops Mason Marchment from.
Oh,
Man, Mason Marchment just freaking Liam Foudy, or not Liam Foudy. Andrew Peak doesn't get made to look like a rag doll very often.
Oh, God. Just twisted him like all up. Oh, but he's out there still. So,
Yeah,
all right.
Peaker's a real man. Not that Chinny's not, but.
Oh, but just.
Sean says, how's y'all's night going? Exactly like Andrew Peak's. We just got checked into the net.
We're just picking ourselves up and dusting ourselves off and just trying to make the best of it. But to finish my thought about Liam Foudy, we're afraid to send him down to the Monsters where he could get real play because he has to be on waivers. And while we have squandered things with him, he does have skill. So someone would more than likely pick him up. So here he sits.
And he's got, I mean, like, the real Liam Foudy story. Okay, we're good. The real Liam Foudy story comes from the bubble, right? I mean, it comes against in that series against Toronto where the Jackets, were able to beat the Maple Leafs in 5 games, and he scored there. If you all remember right, that was in the year 2020. Not anybody's best year, but Liam Foudy made his NHL debut in the bubble during that playoff series and has still yet to register an NHL regular season goal. Like, that's like kind of what we're talking about here. Like, he's somebody who should by now have found the back of the net in the NHL. But to Laura's point, I mean, just some question marks about his development and how it's been handled. And that's where we're at with Liam Foudy. And so we'll see what happens with Igor Chinnikov, but nevertheless, they will proceed because they kind of have to. This is one of those moments where you remember that this season is 82 games. Maybe we could spend some time talking about that too tonight. The NHL, pundits saying that there's a little bit of a proposition going around right now for the getting a little bit feisty in front of the net.
We're tussling.
Yeah. But a proposition going around to extend the game or the season, 2 games. So we have thoughts. We'll talk about them. But yeah, it's going to be a long one for the Jackets. And yeah, Sean just said this is such a chaotic game. It is. Yeah, and if they keep playing like this, it's not going to go great. This is not exactly the kind of style of hockey that I like to see the Jackets play. I mean, shots are 5-4 Dallas right now. Things are looking okay, but it's just a chaotic game, and those usually don't end in the Jackets' favor right about now. But Sean, we can also even talk a little bit about your Preds tonight too. One of our best friends and one of our consistent, I should say, guests on the show is one of my fraternity brothers, but also is a Nashville Predators fan. So we were roommates in college, and so he comes on whenever we play the Preds to give us his unadulterated thoughts on the Predators. We haven't had him on this season yet, though.
No,
because Nashville has already played in Columbus, but the game against Nashville in Nashville was postponed because of their water main break.
Yeah, and it's now being held on a Tuesday in January, I think.
I want to say it's January 17th, only because that's my half birthday, and I remembered that. I don't know why. It looks like we're in a commercial break now, so let's look at some of these other questions, other statements here. So Jacob says, you guys can have Panda from Vegas. We don't need him anymore since Thompson and Hill are like godlike goalies, I should say. Yeah, man. I mean, like, Logan Thompson has looked really good this year. I mean, and I would listen. I'm not opposed to Robin Lehner in a Blue Jackets jersey. The only issue is, right, like, I mean, like, this Elvis Merzlikins contract is not going anywhere anytime soon, just because of the price tag associated with it. And I think the Blue Jackets are committed to Elvis Merzlikins right now as their number 1 goaltender. But
are we having the goalie conversation right now? Because I do have things to say.
I think I say this with the most love in my heart. I don't know that your things fit into a commercial break, so we might hold that for an intermission.
Okay, fine.
If Laura is passionate about any position, any players, any what have you, it is the goaltender position. Like, she has like just this like affinity to goalies, and so I always try my best to respect that on our show, but I usually do a bad job. So
he does a bad job at it, but it's okay.
I love you.
It hasn't affected. 4-2.
Liam, I like you.
I'm glad. That would be a miracle. Sometimes we do overcome in times of great disappointment, like when we got demolished by the Buffalo Sabres.
Let's not talk about that. Why would you bring that up?
No, I'm talking about how we rallied back the two games
Sure,
after that, where we beat the Flames, and I can't remember who the other team was. We beat the Flames. The LA Kings. Sorry.
Yeah,
we beat the Flames and the Kings. Yeah. And then everything fell to shit again, and we lost every single game on a road trip. So
that's true. We've got a Jackets-friendly crowd here. We've got 5-3.
Ooh.
Jackets.
I want to hear some predictions for who's scoring these goals, because not in a mean way. I honestly want to know people's thoughts. Like, who thinks, obviously, I'm sure we're going to get some Patty comments and some Johnny comments, because we know how much he loves to score in Nationwide Arena. But I want to see if anyone thinks some of these like guys who are getting a chance because we're broken pieces, if you think any of them are going to step up and score some of these 4 and 5 goals that people, or is Patrick getting a hat trick tonight? Like,
yeah, they're gonna do their best Tage Thompson impression. Now that we're talking about that game against Buffalo, I guess we're gonna go all in, right?
Hey, I was talking about how they rallied. I didn't want to bring up that horror show that I had to witness in person.
Yeah. So for folks that don't know, I actually live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So I am originally from Columbus, and oh man. Terry let that one slip through, and it just trickled to the left of the net.
Yeah, God was on his side in that situation.
Man, yeah, we're 7-15 or 7-5 shots right now. You're only 12 minutes. You got 12 minutes left in the period. Yeah, Terry looks like he's gonna get tested all night. That shot trickles through him, and it just goes to the left. His right leg kind of kicks it out. Kiviranta just doesn't.
Yeah, it looks like he tries to stop it between his blocker pad and his glove, but then it just falls through, and God just slightly drifted it.
Correct.
Was like, they've had enough.
Yeah, I'm gonna start praying to that God. Because man. So we've got some people declaring their affinity here. So Liam says he's a Penguins fan, but he roots for other teams. You said the Jackets are going to win, Liam. We could be friends. That hurt, though. That hurt me a little bit to hear that you were a Penguins fan. And Sean says he's from Kentucky, and it's not a bad drive. I don't know where in Kentucky you're at, Sean, but whether you're going up 75 or 71 to get up to Columbus, it's a short drive from Kentucky, and it's worth it. I promise. The nightlife is good.
Yeah, Columbus is great.
Good. If you're a foodie, Sean, let us know. We'll give you all the recommendations. Hold on, Johnny Gaudreau. Nope.
No.
He said, okay, I'll hold on. Didn't score. So, yeah, this is a fun game to watch. I'm a little bummed that we're not there in person, Laura. It's high.
Well, speed. we do have a girl on.
My phone fell. My phone.
We do have a girl on the street. Our dear friend Megan is there.
Not girl on the street. Jake Christensen. Get a little feisty.
She apparently has really good seats. So I told her that if she gets to see anything cool up close and personal, that she has to tell me about it, and I'll read it out loud on the stream. But we do know that there's a lot of Columbus haters in, like, the city of Columbus haters in the realm of hockey. But it's honestly great. Like, great nightlife, great food, clean city. Like, come and visit if you haven't, because it's definitely not in the middle of a cornfield like a lot of the memes I saw when Johnny Gaudreau decided to come to Columbus. So...
But I will say, to that point, drive 20 minutes outside of Columbus at your own peril. Like,
yeah, that you will come to some cornfields.
That's where you'll find all of the aforementioned bucolic, like, BS that people think Columbus is. That's where you'll find that. But the city of Columbus, 15th biggest in the country,
only getting bigger by the day.
I hear size doesn't matter, but 15th biggest in the state or in the country. So come check that out.
If you're at all into like computery things, Intel is building one of their largest manufacturing plants here in Columbus. So if
We're
you're
doing a
looking
really
for,
bad job selling the city all of a sudden. All of a
I know
sudden, all of a sudden it went downhill, and it went downhill fast.
it did.
But Donnell says, okay, so we got to save this too. 3 reverse retros. So he's got the Rangers, Islanders, and Devils, but we'll check that out here in just a little bit. And then got a cousin who lives in Columbus. Your cousin's got good taste, my friend. It's a good city. We're pretty big fans of it.
We do have a whole show based off their 3rd most popular team.
Wait, who are you putting? Are you putting the Crew ahead of them?
Sometimes. It's more like a tie. It's a tie for 2nd. The Crew has won things.
That is true. The Crew has won things. That's fair. Yeah, I can't argue with you. That has happened.
I mean, I know one day we will also win things. I have that faith still. But
the Crew did also almost leave, but the city saved it. So that's the thing. If you don't know about the Save the Crew movement, and if you're not familiar with all that happened, I mean, if you want to know what sports are like in Columbus, like check that out. The Save the Crew movement. Former owner of the team bought the team with the notion of moving it to Austin. And when that happened, the owners of the Browns ended up buying the team. That was wild. That might be like, I don't think we talk about that enough as Columbusites, which is the name. But yeah, I mean, it's a crazy story. If you don't know about it, you should look into it.
It's a really inspiring story too. Like there's several really great articles written about the main core of people that led the Save the Crew movement. And yeah, it's really, and that family is getting the Cleveland Monsters for the first outdoor hockey game in Major League Hockey in the state of Ohio.
Yeah, the Monsters. So the Monsters are the Cavs. Who all does Dan Gilbert own? Dan Gilbert's the owner of
the Browns, the Cavs. Or no,
he's not of the Browns. He's of the Monsters and of the Cavs. I don't think he owns the Indians. Somebody else owns, or the Guardians. Oh my gosh, I'm not even a Guardians fan, and I just did that. And so there's obviously a partnership there between the Haslam family and him to make that happen. But yeah, I think he also owns Quicken Loans, which is why everything in Cleveland is named after his companies. But Sean, you're absolutely right. This game is just chaotic. There are really there's no pressure really. There's no consistent pressure. There's no cycle here from either of these teams. So we'll see if they can pick it up here. We've got a TV timeout going on right now. We've got about 9 minutes left in the period. Is anything standing out for you so far, Laura, or is this just kind of like a hodgepodge of stuff?
It's just chaos reigns at this point. As I'm looking up, as we're doing this and I'm keeping one eye on the TV, neither team has had any sort of consistency in a situation. And it just seems like every play ends with just a big collision or a weird circumstance. So neither team is really on it, but I have a slight feeling that Dallas might get on it before we do.
And they're showing a stat right now showing that Ryan Suter has played 1,300 games, Joe Pavelski just over 1,200, Jamie Benn 981, and Tyler Seguin 858. I am wondering how many more games played is happening for the Stars.
Oh, 9 of our...
go ahead with that stat. It's absolutely shocking.
Yeah, Jeff Svoboda tweeted today that 9 of our current roster players have less than 50. Is it
no
50?
less than 100?
Less than 100 NHL games.
And I think 7 of them, including Daniil Tarasov, the starting goaltender, have less than 50. So a majority of them have less than 50. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, this is just such a young team right now. I mean, it's almost, I don't want to say comical because it's not. I spend so little time laughing about it.
This is fully when you're in high school and the whole varsity basketball team gets the flu. And so then the like freshman sophomore JV team gets their like reigning moment in the sun. Like this is currently our situation.
That sure is. Look at
So
Patty. Oh, Patty Line was streaking down the slot and just not able to get found there. But yeah, I mean, it's rough. It's rough out here in these streets. But that's like, I mean, like there are a few players that are the consistent pieces here, right? I mean, like what's unfortunate, right, is Boone Jenner is one of them. People don't talk about Boone Jenner in this league the way I think he deserves to be talked about. I mean, he's not out here. Oh my God, Kent Johnson. Are you kidding me? Did you just see that?
He's good Lord.
He just does things with the puck that I just like. He's got so much confidence being only in his sophomore, and I think technically this is considered his rookie year. I mean, he just
he's a very, very confident 19-year-old. Like,
yeah, I mean that pass. So for those of you who aren't watching the game live, he just a little bit of spinorama there in the slot and finds, well, actually the issue is, well, yeah, he found who was that on his? Was that Johnny?
Yes,
just wasn't able to put it away.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean that's the most exciting part about this game. I think if you're a Blue Jackets fan, is seeing Johnny Gaudreau and Patrick Laine skating with Ken Johnson in between them. I mean that's a lot of fun to see. Mm-hmm. It's indicative of where I think they want to see him develop and progress to. But I mean he's really only played on the wings since he got to Michigan, and so this is a real opportunity for him to try to show what he can do at the center ice position. I mean, we're seeing that confidence. I mean, man, it's just absolutely staggering. And so hopefully he'll capitalize on it.
He in his pregame presser was just incredibly excited to be given the opportunity. And I know Blue Jackets fans have been wanting this for a while, but it was hard to contend with just how solid of a rhythm Boone created with Johnny mostly, and then whomever was most of the time Patrick, but when Patrick was injured, it's Gus Nyquist or it was hard to give an example of why you would split Boone and Johnny up. Yeah. Like, so now, I mean, as much as we hate it because Boone's going to be out for 4 weeks, this is a great opportunity for Kent to prove that he has the potential to move to the center position full time, and that he is strong enough to center two of what some would say the NHL's best players. So,
yeah, and I mean, I think that what I admire the most about it, and I'm going to say this right as Jack Roslovic gets a chance. So what I admire the most about it is that you don't see the Jackets throwing somebody up there who's played those minutes before. So like Jack Roslovic is somebody who, when Boone Jenner was hurt last year, he stepped into that role. And frankly, I mean, Jack Roslovic just hasn't had the year I think that he would want to, or anybody would want to. And so, it doesn't work out. But then you've got, who could you move there that's not Kent Johnson? There's so many options, and they don't do it. Like they say, we're going to try it. We're going to see how this goes. We're going to see how this works. I mean, hell, even in practice the other day, Johnny Gaudreau is skating in the middle, and it's like, what is going on in here? And we don't know the answer to that question, but
we do.
Yeah, we're 15 minutes into this one, and the Jackets, I mean, like Sean says it, like the fact that Columbus is looking like a capable team right now is impressive. I mean, I hate that I agree with you. Like, I mean, like this is a Dallas team that's really good. I mean, when we look at some of the stats here to start the game, I mean, really at this point, we're just looking at ice time, but it's hard to look at this Dallas lineup and not just see a bunch of really great guys who have had a great career or who are just on starting their career, right, and have been so good. I mean, are you kidding me? Like Jason Robertson has 5 shots on goal already in this one, which is just absurd. In 4 minutes and 44 seconds of ice time. I mean, are you kidding me? And then you've got a whole bunch of players like Tyler Seguin and Joe Pavelski who are just like these grizzled veterans who, just are great at what they do. I mean, Kiviranta is the guy who had his pass, skip underneath of Daniil Tarasov, but Jamie Benn is another player who's really great. Heiskanen is one of the better defenders in the game right now. Rebe Hintz is coming up. I mean, it's just like this team could be competitive for a really long time. Like, I know I'm a co-host of a Blue Jackets podcast, but it's hard not to look at this Dallas team and not see their potential for success moving forward. But we look at the Columbus stats. I mean, like, look how many blocked shots already, Laura. I mean, it's just amazing to see just how many. As we're looking here, no hits yet for Dallas, but Columbus is out here between Eric Robinson, Andrew Peak, and Tim Burney. Like, they've each got multiple hits in this game so far, so they're definitely playing pretty lights out, at least to this point. Those guys are.
I mean, I wouldn't mind, like, if things get dicey, that, Matthew Olivier shows people, like, why we signed him to the Blue Jackets and, decides to drop the gloves. I mean, if the game's already chaos as it is, we might as well have a fight. So,
yeah, that's kind of my thought, too. And another shot on goal there for the Jackets. So we're talking about, Kent Johnson, getting into the crease and getting a little bit.
Kent, fighting is not your place.
I wouldn't mind to see it. I would be fascinated for sure. But yeah, so 10 out of shots. Go ahead.
He's like one of those stick bugs. Like, I just don't want him to fight because they're going to snap him in half.
God, you saying that just made me think of Bug's Life, and I don't know why.
That's exactly like what I was thinking of too, but I just don't. And that's, the other day, if you're not a regular Columbus Blue Jackets fan, you might not know this, but the other day in practice, they were working on a version of the power play with 5 forwards on the ice. And our power play tends to go off the rails, and other teams score on us when it's our power play. And the idea for me to have 5 forwards on the ice was just like, absolutely not. Because our top forwards are not the ones that throw themselves at the mercy of a puck. And That's what you really need when a power play goes sideways for you. So I was glad that they have seemingly scrapped that idea. But hey, maybe tonight we'll see it because everything is chaotic.
Well, I'm going to say this now, but that's like fundamental for the Jackets tonight is they have to stay out of the box. I mean, they have just been playing some relatively undisciplined hockey here as of late, and in these tight hockey games where they're actually playing a competitive style of hockey, they're in it for the first couple of periods, like you alluded to a little bit earlier, Laura. Mm-hmm. It's just painful to play that undisciplined hockey that ends up leading to a goal. This team's we don't need to talk about the power play. It's really bad. This team's penalty kill, however, is pretty average. I mean, they're like middle of the league, and they're respectable enough. And so obviously you don't want to make that happen. Like, you don't want that to be okay. Igor Chinnikov's out for the rest of the game.
Oh, I was just about to tell you that.
Love that. But and yeah, Sports Fan 07 says, yeah, Chinnikov got hurt. Unfortunately, we did see that. We are a little broken up about it right now. Not handling it well, to say the least.
And I just hope it's not a long term, because he's quietly had such a good season, and I think he will be, even though it's not noticed on the score sheet as much, like if we have to take him out of the lineup for a couple of weeks, it's going to be a big hit too.
Who was hurt behind the play? Vladislav Gavrikov.
Great. In his face again. He has taken the place of Zach Werenski in the fact that he only gets hurt in his face.
Well, and what'll be interesting is Vladislav Gavrikov, which if you don't know much about Vladislav Gavrikov, he is just a character of a hockey player. One of my favorites on this team. I mean, he's just got the personality of an all-star. He's just so fun, and he's mic'd up tonight, so it'll be interesting if they caught that happen. He did an interview.
It's going to be all in Russian.
Yeah, he did an interview.
And it's going to be all expletives.
Correct. He did an interview with Jody Shelley and Jeff Rimmer mid pregame skate. So a lot of fun to listen to that.
He'll also be mad if whatever happened to his face means that he has to put the full shield on again, which I feel like is the equivalent of like a dog cone for hockey players.
It feels like it, doesn't it? Yeah, a little bit of that going on there. But it's taken me until about this point of the season to remember that he's changed in numbers.
Yeah, for like the first 3 weeks of the season, every time Gabranson would do anything, I thought it was Gavrikov.
Ooh. Yeah, he took the puck right to his ear. Miro Heiskanen shot. He's fine. He'll be all right. But hey, at least it's not face. It's ear.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't need that or anything.
No. And I mean, Tarasov has played really well. I mean, the thing about Tarasov that I think has been, well, that was a choice when he came out to play that puck. But the thing about Tarasov that I think I've noticed more than anything, and if you subscribe to The Athletic, like you might have read Aaron Portzline's article earlier today, just talking about like the commitment to try to fix what's going on with Elvis, is like a lot of folks who, have played the position or have coached the position have said like Elvis Merzlikins is just very jumpy in that right now. He's doing too much. He's playing like he needs to do too much. And Daniil Tarasov, I think partially because he's so young, just doesn't really do that as much. He's a lot calmer in that, which I think is part of the reason they're riding with him right now. But obviously you hope Elvis turns his game around. But if Terry keeps playing like that, I mean, Dallas has got 13 shots on goal here. We're winding down to the final 90 seconds of the period. And it's been a great game from him so far. He's played really well, and that was a heck of a shot there that Jake Ottinger fought off.
Rebounds are important.
It's one of Laura's favorite things to say is that rebounds are important, and he left one there for the Jackets, and they can't find it, unfortunately. But yeah, as this one comes to the end of the first period, we've got about a minute left. The last thing you want to do if you're the Jackets, and I'm going to say this because why wouldn't I, is you've played a decent period. I think in some ways you've been outplayed, and in other parts of the game you've played well. But the last thing you want to do is give Dallas a goal here in this last minute of this period. This is the kind of thing that the Jackets have been notorious for this season, is giving up that last minute goal and ultimately, losing any momentum that they've created throughout the period. And that's the last thing you want to do here. Is Dallas sets up some zone time, they're going to make me look like an idiot if they score. Oh, they're trying. That puck was loose.
They're really trying. But we're also seeing something very similar too that's happened multiple times in our last 5 games, is a no score first and a battly. I'm hoping a battly second, but I just am nervous when we get to this third period.
And I mean, since giving up 6 goals in the first period against the Sabres, the Jackets have really started games well. Since then, they have pretty much made sure that they come out with the energy that they need to be competitive. And like you've said, it's just always that third period, which, I mean, if you've played sports, if you know sports, you know that like the stronger teams, the better conditioned teams, the overall just better teams gut it out and toward the end of games and toward the end of contests to win. But yeah, I mean, the Jackets just haven't found themselves on the winning side of those very often here recently. And so that's going to be the end of the first. I mean, a good period for the Jackets. We'll break down the stats, all that kind of stuff, talk reverse retro jerseys, maybe even talk some goaltending. We'll figure it out. We don't know how we'll do it. You'll figure it out with us. But go ahead if you need to, refresh your drink, run to the bathroom, do whatever you need to, because we're going to take about a 5-minute break here. And when we come back, we are going to talk all things Blue Jackets, Stars, reverse retro jerseys, and goaltenders. What's going on, y'all? We're back. We're back and ready to talk to you all a little bit about just what that first period was like, and then just to talk a little bit of hockey. We like to talk about hockey, Laura. Don't we like to talk about hockey?
We do like to talk about hockey. One would say we do it twice a week for right around 3 hours at least.
Well, and while it's a commercial break, I'm going to give you your first chance to plug us on all of our socials before we get too deep into all of our talking. I mean, obviously, the folks can find us whenever we do a live stream on the Hockey Podcast Network YouTube page. And please do. We hope to do some more here in the coming weeks and months. But, Laura, just tell the good folks where they can find all things Subjectively Speaking. And maybe even tell them how to spell it. I feel like maybe we should, give a crash course on that. It's not spelled the way you hear it. So go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Jeremy said, we are the two hosts of Subjectively Speaking, a Blue Jackets fan podcast. And you can find us on social media on Twitter and Instagram at Subjectively Pod. You can follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and we have our own YouTube page at Subjectively Speaking. And like he said, it is not spelled the way that it sounds. So basically, the way we say it to people when they ask, we say it's CBjectively. So like subjectively, but CBjectively if you're looking for us. And we have a cute, I'm not wearing any merch or I would show our logo, but we have, we do have some lovely merch. If you like us enough to want to support our show, you can check out our merch store, subjectivelymerch.com. But we have a nice little hockey stick microphone and the Ohio flag. If you're looking for us on iTunes or Spotify, or really any place that you listen to podcasts, you can find us.
And you can give us a 5-star rating because what Laura always says at the end of all of our shows is it's our favorite number. So we don't know why it matters. It just does. So go and do that. If you're feeling generous this holiday season, if you're feeling like a giver this holiday season, just it won't cost you any dollars. Just go give us a 5-star rating. But yeah, so this one's been back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And I mean, we've gotten that comment a couple of times, right? I mean, it's just been an exciting game. It's been entertaining, but it's been pretty chaotic. Sean says this game is still more entertaining than any Caps game I've watched. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I mean, they definitely don't play an exciting kind of hockey. Although I will say right now with the whole Alexander Ovechkin kerfuffle of reaching 800 goals and trying to catch Gordie Howe at 801, I mean, that's fun. I mean, even if they're playing 1-0, 2-0, 2-1 hockey games, any chance he's on the ice, I mean, it just probably feels exciting, and I feel like we're going to have a lot of that over the course of the next 94 goals that he might score as he gets closer and closer to the Wayne Gretzky record.
Yeah, I'm just glad because we had this conversation just in normal conversation, not on our show or anything, but I'm just glad that it didn't take him until we play them in January for him to get his 800th goal, because as I don't know if many people know this, but his first 2 goals were against Columbus.
Yeah, he scored 2 goals, and I don't know if it was the first game of his career. I mean, he feels like the kind of player who would score in his first game, but I don't know if it was his first or not. But yeah, he scored twice against the Jackets for his first ever NHL goal, and then also his second ever NHL goal. So yeah, he's going to set the record against us, right? I mean, that's going to be what happens.
I mean, probably, but they did release the listing of how many goals he's scored against every team. And I was just happy to see that we were middle of the road.
Well, and we're lucky because when he scored his first goal against us, it would have been when we were still in the Western Conference. And so the matchup between the Jackets and the Capitals wouldn't have happened as much. And so that, I think, is the only reason why that number is so low. If we were in the East for his entire career, woof. Not a good time. Would not be a good time.
Sometimes the hockey gods look kindly upon us.
And I think the last season the Jackets were in the West was the lockout season of 11-12 or 12-13, whichever it was. So it's not been too long that the Jackets have been in the East, but he still managed to put a hurting on us in the amount of time that we've been there. So Laura, we've got a handful of minutes left here in this intermission. Dealer's choice. I want to throw it to you, which I'm sure you love hearing me say. Are we going to talk about goaltending? Are we going to talk about reverse retro jerseys? Or are we going to talk about this 84 game schedule?
I think we should talk about reverse retro jerseys first.
Perfect. You've given it thought. I can see it in your eyes. Tell me.
I have given it thought, yeah.
Yeah. Tell me your favorite and your least favorite reverse retro.
My favorite is, because I had two, but I think you're going to say the other one. So I really love Florida's jersey. I just think it's so fun. And I love the like pomp. They really went to just embrace Florida. And I just think it looks really nice. And I love the bold colors. And oh God, my least favorite, I don't love Detroit's.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't love it. I think it looks really like plain looking. And again, much like Toronto, I think for a fan base that is so passionate and so like embedded in hockey culture, that you really could have stepped up for their reverse retros. But those are my picks. And I do love ours. It took me a minute to like warm up to it. The only thing I would change is the thickness of the black band or the blue band that runs on the bottom of it. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I think they did us a solid, and I love it so much more than our red one. I
don't mind the red one. I know we disagree on that a little bit, but yeah, I mean, there are a lot of good ones. I mean, there aren't too many epic fails here. I mean, it's hard for me to pick just one. I mean, my favorite color is orange. So like the Coyotes is good. I mean, like I just love anything that resembles like their like that new old logo that they've really embraced. I mean, like I love it. I don't know what it is about the Wilds that I like. I just enjoy that like combo of the green and yellow, as long as it's not Aaron Rodgers' body. Man, well, I'll say my least favorite was probably Detroit. Like I was on your same wavelength, but I'll try not to duplicate here. I'm not inspired by a handful of them. Like Chicago and New Jersey. Like Chicago kind of gives me the same feel as Detroit's. And then New Jersey, I don't really know what the goal was there. I'm going to need a Devils fan to let me know. Like, it just does look like their normal away jersey with like a little bit of change in the color of the arms and of the
I'm
the band
sure
at the
our good friend Neil also a host.
What's up, buddy?
Also a host on the Hockey Podcast Network, Devil's State of Mind, if you are a Devils fan looking for a show. But I'm sure he could explain to us why that seems appropriate for the Devils.
Yeah, but I mean, I kind of gave a very political answer there on my favorites and my least favorites by taking a page out of your playbook by saying 10 teams.
That's true. I do have an honorable mention. I do love the Kings reverse retro.
Good.
It's so good.
It's really good.
Like so good. If I was wealthy, I would definitely purchase myself one, but also our friend Pashi, who is a huge Lakers fan and is in the Lakers colors with the beautiful crown logo, like aces.
Yeah, it's really well done. It's really, really well done. So kudos to Adidas on this. This is really their last big project with the NHL. So shout out to them. This one works. I'm a fan. 10 out of 10. Well, 9 out of 10. Some of them suck. But I digress. So currently showing the Jackets have 186 games lost this season.
That's so many.
So
many.
Cool. But we'll get there. We'll get back to healthy, right, at some point. But yeah, so
sure. In April.
Right. So Boomtax says, "Hey man, what's going on, Boomtax? How's it going?" Let's look at the stats here for this one. So 0-0 at the end of one. For the Jackets, they've had some opportunities, right? I mean, we look at it, 14-13 of the shots on goal. I mean, obviously a lot of shots happening here, but the real takeaway here for me is look at the block shots for the Jackets. I mean, the Stars are definitely have more attempts than the Jackets do, without a doubt. this one was tough. I mean, the Jackets just have got to start limiting those chances. And I mean, good on them for getting in front of the puck there. 15 hits to 1, which just feels like absolute chaos. The Jackets have 4 giveaways, but they've got 4 takeaways, so they're even there as we get ready to start the second period. But Laura, as you look at some of these stats, just what are some of the things that come across your mind?
Well, I am happy to see that with Boone out that we haven't given up too many faceoffs. So we're still pretty even keel with that because Boone is our number 1 faceoff person.
And we can look here. We can see just kind of the face-off percentage here by each player. I mean, the only Jacket that's under 500 right now is Sean Corrali, who is generally pretty consistent in the circle. So that's a little surprising to see. But
but he may straighten up in the second period. We'll have to see. But it's also going to be interesting to see how much more the lines shift in the second period, knowing that Igor Chinnikov is not coming back this evening. So, and hopefully they haven't determined in the intermission that Andrew Peak broke his leg or something and has been playing on it for the rest of the first period. Because that seems to be a trend too, is that if you can see, if you don't think the Blue Jackets players care about this team, I believe that you are incorrect, because this is now 2 players that have played with broken appendages in games before really anyone found out that they had an injury. So Nick Blankenberg played with a full-on broken ankle for the half of a third period and ended up scoring probably one of the longest empty net goals I've ever seen. Yeah. And now we found out today that Captain Boone Jenner played 2 whole games last week with a broken thumb. And yeah, he takes a lot of faceoffs and is on the ice quite a bit. So that's dedication. And Patrick Laine has just found some sort of weird routine. He's starting to remind me of Max Domi when Max was a Blue Jacket and just being able to miraculously heal weeks earlier than expected.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an uncanny thing that Max could do that. And yeah, I mean, Patty's come back, I think, a week or 2 before each of his timelines on both of his injuries. So yeah, I mean, I think both Boone Jenner and Nick Blankenberg scored goals with those broken appendages at this point. So, I mean, Boone Jenner leads this team in goals as of right now. I mean, he's got 11 on the season. I mean, he's people are not talking about, and this is kind of what I was alluding to earlier. I mean, that's a huge loss for the Jackets, not even just in the room, but also just in terms of on-ice production. I mean, this is a team that hasn't really scored much in the last week or so. And so losing a player who is your leading goal scorer, I mean, that's hard. And so it'll be interesting to see how the Jackets change things up to try to allow for there to be a little bit more opportunity for other guys to find the back of the net. I'm going to take a look. Let's look at some of these time on ice for the Jackets and try to figure out who it is that they are having play up. I mean, I guess we could just kind of watch too, but it looks like Sean Corrali's played 5-12 and everybody else on that line seems to have played pretty short minutes. I mean, Dunn and Meyer have only played 2.5 minutes. I'm wondering if this is going to end up being a situation where they're just kind of putting Sean up there on that third line and then just kind of figuring it out is kind of what this looks like to this point. But we'll keep an eye on that and keep watching.
Well, and especially if we start, which I think we might know what's happening. We're getting the first penalty of the game? No. Oh, they just said it could be a penalty.
Well, that was Sean Corrali on the ice, of course. Yeah, so Sean Corrali's out there with Eric Robinson and Olivier. Oh. Is he out there with Eric Robinson and Olivier? So are they literally just going to play that fourth line as the third line?
I think so.
Nice. Good stuff.
Oh, no penalty. We are just in action. Yeah, but what I was going to say before that was if penalties do pick up in the second period, then lines are going to be all over the place because so many of these young guys don't play on the power play or the penalty kill. So it's going to be as strenuous if penalties do start to occur.
And I mean, really, like, you've got a guy missing on both units at this point because Igor Chinnikov plays on that second unit and Boone Jenner plays on the first. And so, and Cole Sillinger plays on the second unit, if I'm not mistaken. So, like, woof.
Like, yeah, and Boone is such a crucial part to both the penalty kill and the power play in his ability to win faceoffs. And so
right,
we're going to have to stay out of the box because it's just too crucial not having him. So hopefully they can do that. I'm going to knock on the wood table that I have right now.
It is 1-0 Dallas. Dallas just scored.
Oh.
Yeah, and that one, Johnston, it looks like, is going to get the goal for. And then.
This is what I hate sometimes about, I won't name them, but the network that shows Blue Jackets games is that sometimes during the intermissions, they do weird stuff, so it ends up that the feed is
being
like
a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, so you said that, and it ended up being like 20 seconds behind.
Yeah, I knew you were on a little bit of a delay when you said no penalty because they had already started play and the puck was already frozen on the other end of the ice. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
God love them, I guess. I'm fortunate that I can, watch the games, but the delay is not fun.
But I mean, that was just a situation where Terry, I mean, like, he's played really well, but that's a rebound that he can't control. And then Josh Dunn just doesn't have control of his man, which is Johnston out there in front. And Wyatt Johnston makes it a 1-0 hockey game, his 8th of the year. So not ideal if you're the Jackets. I mean, that's exactly what you didn't want to happen, right? You had a really good first period. You were able to, and maybe let me not get dramatic. I don't know if I'll say really good. But you had a good first period. You controlled play at times. You kept Dallas off the board. Daniil Tarasov has played well. So you really want to find a way to,
keep doing all of those things and keep the same momentum that you had in the first. And so to get it so quickly into the second, it's really, they're gonna need to just not let it, which they do sometimes, not let it just have them become frazzled. And
whatever could you be talking about? The Blue Jackets let people get into their heads every now and again? That's weird.
Only all the time.
News to me. But yeah, so
and then they get in their own heads when they have like successes.
Yeah, no, 100%.
So
100%. So the Jackets, yes, they are currently down 1-0 off of that Wyatt Johnston goal. And I mean, now you've just got to try to like set something up. I mean, they haven't really had a lot of really, really solid sustained zone time down there in Dallas's zone. And so they need to make that happen sooner rather than later. I mean, they can't keep playing this game just in the neutral zone. I mean, Dallas is doing a pretty good job, especially at the start of this period, of clogging that neutral zone. And especially for the Jackets, I mean, this is a team that doesn't necessarily, set a lot of things up in the zone. They're not, I mean, they make a lot of their opportunities off the rush. And if a team is able to clog up that neutral zone a little bit, I mean, it makes it really hard for this team to find any success. And they were finding success early in the season offensively, but it just seems like a lot of folks have, for one, they're not healthy, so that doesn't help anything. But then on top of that, great save there by Daniil Tarasov. On top of that, I mean, people are figuring it out. People are figuring out how this team is able to generate their chances. And so they've taken out that neutral zone quite a bit. And so that's going to be something that the Jackets definitely need to get over. But yeah.
Yeah, because we got red in our last two games against Boston and against, well, no, actually really against in our last three games and all the games on our road trip, Florida, Tampa, and the Bruins just read us like a wide open book. and it was hard to watch, and hear pundits and analysts and stuff use the term, and we've used it on our show too, but essentially one trick pony situation.
Yeah.
And just also watching them struggle to figure out other ways to do things. And if you're a Blue Jackets fan, or if you are following the team this season, like, one of the frustrating situations has been, at least for fans, I think, is when bad things do happen, or when they really struggle, or we embarrass ourselves on a global stage. Real change,
yeah.
real changes haven't been made as far as the play of the Blue Jackets and as far as how they attack games. And it's just really frustrating. And as these injuries start to pile up, because we do have some guys coming back. Adam Boquist should return to the lineup here within, I would say, probably a week. But next up, it wouldn't be until Jonas Korpisalo, maybe, depending on how he goes. And then, of course, Cole Sillinger, who is day-to-day. But a major person coming back wouldn't be until January, with Nick Blankenberg returning to the lineup, hopefully. But it's got to shift. We've got to start reacting to things, and not just continuing to do the same thing over and over and expect different outcomes.
Well, I'll tell you what, Laura, that is not what's happening here in
Oh, not at all. I mean, this is the same type of play we've seen for is this 28 games?
This is like mere moments away from being 2-0 kind of hockey right now. It's just been all Dallas here to start the second period. I mean, they've been down in the Jacket zone pretty much the entire time, and have really,
and it's not going to be Terry's fault, really, unless he does something crazy. Like, it will more than likely be like a defensive breakdown in front of him, which isn't fair to him, because he has been playing so well, and this is just the difficulty of any goaltender really playing with this team right now.
Yeah. I mean, the team in front of them is not solid. I mean, it's it goes to show you that injuries, I mean, don't get me wrong, NHL's talent is deep, but I don't know if it's this deep. And Tim Burney just had a heck of a chance there. I mean, that's not the kind of play that you expect from him all too often, but the Jackets are finally sustaining a little bit of zone time, and we'll see if they can find a way to do something with it. I mean, the Sean Corrali, Matthew Olivier, and Eric Robinson line has generated chances quite a bit this season, but they're definitely playing some extended minutes here tonight after the injury to Igor Chinnikov, that's for sure. They're definitely not playing like a third line or like a fourth line like they normally do. They're playing some third line minutes here. So kind of got some folks here in the comments. So Akram asks if the match is starting or not. So yep, we're about 7 minutes into the second period. Uh-oh. Good save by Terry. Wow, okay. I'll take that every time. And that was on Jamie Benn, I think. No, Joe Pavelski. Sorry. It's on Joe Pavelski. So big win there for the rookie goaltender. And Jack Roslovic just gets ragdolled as he's got a 1-on-2 there. He tries to make it work against the Stars, and it just doesn't happen. Angus McWhorter says, hello, everyone. The peanut butter goat is in the house. Now, Angus, my friend, contextually, I don't have any idea what you're talking about. And I want to know, because I am a peanut butter fan. So I want to know where this comes from. This is our first live stream this season. I don't know if he's been on a live stream.
Is he talking about the gentleman who has the peanut butter as his avatar?
You're talking about Sean, Angus. Is that who you're talking about? I hope so. And I hope that, Sean, you only go by peanut butter goat if that's the case. But, yep, Angus says I'm talking about Sean. Listen, if you're the peanut butter goat, Sean, you better live into it. I like that a lot. And then Donnell asked if we answered the question. We did answer the reverse retro question there during the first intermission. To boil it down, I said that 10 teams were my favorite reverse retro, and that I didn't like Chicago, and I didn't like New Jersey.
And I said that my favorite is Florida and my least favorite is Detroit.
And Donnell, maybe you can help me here, because I know you said that you are from the tri-state area there, and you can give me a little bit of insight as to like why the Devils jersey is like good, I am open to it. Like, I'm not like so sworn off to it that I won't hear feedback. So feel free to let me know why I'm wrong. You would not be the first person, my friend, to tell me why I was wrong, and I would be welcome to it. But yeah, I mean, so the Jackets, I mean, really just here in the second period, I mean, like, let's just pull it up. It's things are getting a little bit
good.
Yeah, a little difficult here for the Jackets. So, they're getting outshot 7-2 already, just 7 minutes into this period. And, they're blocking shots again. I mean, it's just one of those things where Dallas is getting opportunity after opportunity to put one on net. You can't let that happen if you're the Jackets. You have to step up
the
here.
saddest focused face I've ever seen. Sorry, they have Johnny on the screen right now, and congratulations to him for getting to wear an A tonight. In I think he and Gus Nyquist are both wearing A's in the absence of obviously Zach Werenski and Captain Boone Jenner. So, yeah. I mean, Johnny's definitely been trying to be. He's coming to a much different circumstance than he had in Calgary, where he was able to, I think, be more of a.
Why did we wait? Get there, Jack. Oh my God. Why did we? Carson Myers scrapping it up a little bit here.
Oh, see, now I'm ahead of you.
Yeah, I thought maybe you were based on what you were saying.
When Johnny was on the screen.
Yeah.
But yes, he's come to a very different circumstance, and here in Columbus versus what he had in Calgary. But he's definitely figuring out that he can be a leader and a voice on this team, which is good. Just good, because he's going to be here for a while. So,
yeah, that is true. He definitely will be. And Donnell helps me here. So, the Devils Reverse Retro 2.0 is supposed to be throwing back to when they were the Kansas City Scouts and Colorado Rockies, if that answers your question. It so does, because I did not know that. So thank you. And I all of a sudden hated it a little bit less. So I might have to reconsider my least favorite. I mean, I actually think that my least favorite is Chicago and Detroit, but I didn't want to take from you.
So we just got a DM on our Twitter account from our good friend and listener, Morgan, who's actually at the game, but her secondary team is the Dallas Stars. And she told us that the Stars social media team is pretty brutal, and they are, because they definitely tweeted Johnny Hockey scores first for the Stars, because apparently that first goal must have been deflected off of Johnny.
Well, it's Wyatt Johnston, so I wonder if it's like Johnny Johnston. Johnny wasn't on the ice for that goal, I don't think. So I think they're calling Wyatt Johnston Johnny Hockey.
Oh, okay. That would make more sense.
Let's see. Who was on the ice for that Blue Jackets goal? Tim Burney. Oh, he was on the ice. Maybe. What a weird grouping. That Josh Dunn and Johnny Gaudreau and Patrick Laine were the forwards out there for that goal, I guess.
Weird.
Correct. Yeah, I must have just gotten caught up in a line change there. But yeah, so that is a little brutal. Don't love that. Don't love that at all, if I'm being honest with you. But that's okay. So, I mean, the shots are coming, and they are coming quick. It's 21-16. Dallas is the lead there in shots on goal. And, I mean, the Jackets, they've had a couple of opportunities here after that commercial break. Man, it seems like Carson Myers is just everywhere on the ice right now. Like, literally,
he's he is also a player, like a fringe player, who's trying to prove, oh, God. Another big save from Tarasov and another kerfluffle in front of him. But Carson Meyer is another one of those fringe players who is also playing to prove that as we slowly get these players back, that he deserves a spot in this lineup. And for those who aren't aware, he is also an Ohio kid. So we have actually now 4 Ohio-born and gone through Ohio hockey system players in the Columbus Blue Jackets system as of today. I'm not going to remember what his first name is, but his last name is Richards.
Justin
Richards. Son of former coach who
Todd.
Jeremy reminded me got fired by the Blue Jackets on his birthday.
So this was before I brought you into the fold. It was my freshman year of college. The Jackets started the season 0-7. And Todd Richards started the season unemployed. He was fired after that. He ended up, unfortunately, being fired on his birthday. And that was ultimately when John Tortorella was hired by the Jackets there at the start or at the end of that streak. He ended up losing one more game as the Jackets started the season 0-8. But ultimately, things worked out for Torts in Columbus. So,
6 whole years.
We can talk about some Torts drama in the second intermission if we want to. That sounds fun.
Oh, we should, because then I can talk about. I won't do it now, but if we talk about it in the intermission, we can talk about Philadelphia.
Is a massive Cam Atkinson fan, and we got some tough news from Cam's camp today about what things look like for his injury. So we'll see here. I thought Dallas was surely going to have a breakaway there, but it didn't look like they were able to control it, which I'm not mad about. I mean, this has just been a messy period for the Jackets. They have not looked good.
No. It's like they came through the tunnel and we're just like, huh? What's happening?
It's almost looking like somebody, as they were coming out on the ice, was just like, Connor Bedard.
Again, they should not believe either that the NHL would ever be gracious enough to allow us to naturally get the first round draft pick.
Well, how about Adam Fantilli? What a block there by Tim Burney, who might be hurt. No, he's fine.
He can't be. Put some dirt on it. He's fine.
There's not a lot of that in this game.
Dirt?
Yeah.
Go outside. It could be like when we were doing interviews in Traverse City.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're not kidding. If anybody is a hockey fan who is relatively close, and I'd say like it's worth like probably up to a 6-hour drive, if not longer, a drive up to Traverse City to check out the prospect camp. It used to be a lot bigger. Less teams now post-COVID. So your favorite team might not be there, but
this featured us, the Detroit Red Wings.
Yeah, these two teams were actually a part of Traverse.
Yeah, the Stars, Toronto Maple Leafs, and the St. Louis Blues, I think, were the teams that were up there. So, but it's in like a community rink, like what you think of a community rink. So when you're up there as members of the press, as we were, I know, so fancy, you basically, there's no space. I mean, there's space for us to watch the games in a special area, but there was no space for us to like conduct interviews or anything of that nature. So they put you outside, and thank God the weather was good, because they put you outside and basically like on the side of the building, outside of the daycare that is also run in this community rink. So there was
we interviewed
playground toys.
Next to a slide.
Yeah, we did interview Rick Nash next to a slide. So
gotta do what you gotta do.
And if you want to see that interview of us interviewing Rick Nash and having near heart, no, it's not posted. We never posted the video.
We don't have a video of us interviewing Rick Nash. We just have the audio.
Oh, that's true. You can listen to it.
You can, yeah. Find that episode in our catalog. You can go check it out. But that was
It's a good interview, and we didn't like fangirl out because we weren't supposed to, but it was a solid. And there's very little wind interference because it was also crazy windy the second we started interviewing Rick Nash.
Very little wind interference. There's a lot of wind interference in that interview, but they just
showed the sound quality.
There were a couple of moments I had to edit pretty hardcore, but they just showed the video of Tim Burney taking a Tyler Seguin shot off of the hand.
Oh, that's good. Can't wait for that press release tomorrow. Tim Burney out for 6 weeks with a shattered hand.
Come on up, David. You're a check. Billy Sneezy, come through.
We had to cut his glove off.
And here's hoping that that's not the case, because the Jackets really can't afford more injuries, but they definitely can't afford them on
the medical bills of this team have to be echoing the amount of just salary pay that's on IR.
Yeah, you think they're ever just like, we are sick of paying y'all's damn insurance. Like, we're sick of it. Like, we are tired. Like, y'all have all these damn claims.
Every
Oh
time someone
man.
checks their teeth on the bench, they're like, honestly, just leave them.
Yeah, no, for sure. This team is battered and bruised. So we've got some more reverse retro talk happening here. So we've got Angus says that their least favorite retro reverse was reverse retro, I should say, is unfortunately from their hometown, St. Louis, Missouri. Not a fan of the yellow. Yeah, if you're not a fan of yellow or that yellow specifically, you probably don't like the Blues jersey. It is yellow.
It is bright.
Yeah, it is a lot. But then Donnell says that the Islanders reverse retro jersey that they were glad they brought the fishermen back. Sucks that there was no teal, no waves, and no lighthouse on the shoulders. Yeah, I mean that's fair. And then the Rangers reverse retro is nice of their blue, and this time added the red on the sleeves on this jersey and forgot to add it on the reverse retro 1.0. I mean, I don't mind the Rangers. It's a pretty classic look. I like it. And I mean, I love the Islanders fisherman. Like, I mean, it's just such a good logo. And on top of that, right, I mean, also just like I said earlier, my favorite color is orange. So anytime you get that color combo of that like dark blue and orange, I'm like always a fan of it. So definitely a good one there, in my opinion. But looks like we're coming back to play here. We've got 6:28 left in this one, in the second period, I should say. Feels like this game is moving quick. We've only been on live for an hour and 25 minutes, and we're almost finished here with the second.
Well, there
haven't
really been any penalties. So stoppage in play has been few and far between. I love people that try and get behind Jody Shelley when he's doing the on ice interviews. Yeah, it's always like a 12-year-old boy who's just like, let me wave behind Jody Shelley's head.
No, they look at least like 15 or 16. I have no perception because I think the college students that I work with sometimes look like they're 12. So
yeah,
the product of working in higher education.
And plus the way that we both work in higher education, for a little bit of information on us, and plus when they don't behave like grown-ups, you oftentimes have to treat them like they're 12 and 13 years old. Mm-hmm. So if you're in college, and I'm going to be doing a lot of it here shortly. But if you're in college, we're not trying to be offensive. It's just when you misbehave, it is really just a reminder that you are straddling that line between childhood and adulthood.
Hey, if you're not in a fraternity or a sorority, you can do whatever the hell you want. That's the only people I care about right now at my job. So yeah, I mean, we're not really doing a lot of talking about this game, but really it's just because it's been a lot of the status quo. I mean, a lot of clogging in the neutral zone, a lot of not really establishing any zone time for really either team. Although, as I say that, Dallas has established some zone time here against Columbus. Just not really a super productive period here for the Jackets, especially. Although here we got a little bit of a break here by Patty Laine.
Oh, I would have thought.
I don't know what happened there, to be honest with you, but I digress. Daniil Tarasov, maybe for a little bit of an interesting pass there with Tyler Seguin coming down on him pretty hard there. But we'll see here. Look at Kent Johnson. Let's see what he can do here, carrying the puck into the zone. And he's going to control some ice time. Jake Christensen with a little bit of a shot here. Ottinger will hold it. So it looks like they're going to go to another commercial break because why not?
Why not? Got to get those holiday commercials in. We're less than a week away from Christmas.
Johnny did that to himself. Johnny tripped himself.
Oh.
Tough.
Poor guy.
Tough.
If you are a Johnny fan and you're looking for some Johnny merchandise, we do have a pretty sweet shirt in our merch store that our incredibly brilliant graphic designer, Stephen Kinnicky, designed for us. That says "Here's Johnny" with a really sweet hockey stick and stuff. So again, that's subjectivelymerch.com.
You are ridiculous, and that's why I love you. So we're in another commercial break. Laura, what's going on with Cam Atkinson?
Oh, my beloved Cam. So for those, most of you probably are unfamiliar, but my first ever favorite hockey player was Cam Atkinson. He was a big part of the Blue Jackets for 10 years, and he got traded a year and a half ago to the Philadelphia Flyers for Jakub Voracek, who is
counting though.
Right. Not me. And Cam, unfortunately, has not played a game yet this season for Philadelphia. He's been dealing with an injury, and he had been trying to work his way back. He kept going from, week to week to IR to week again. And then, unfortunately, today, the Flyers announced that he will be having neck surgery, which will take him out for the rest of the season. And a lot of reports have said that it's serious enough that it could be career ending. And
So we're not
that
going to think about that.
breaks my heart, because even though he's not a Blue Jacket anymore, he is just a great guy and he's a great player. And so I'm hoping that, much like we're hoping with Jakub Voracek, who is out with pretty severe concussion syndrome for the rest of the season, hoping that this is not the last time that we get to see Cam dress for any team. But I will say, if this forces him into retirement and the Blue Jackets don't let him sign a one-day contract to retire as a Blue Jacket, I will be furious.
I don't think you have to worry about that. I think he'll probably retire as a Blue Jacket. But we're back to playing some hockey here. They just showed the clip of Vladislav Gavrikov after taking a puck to the ear. And like we said earlier, he's mic'd up. So I'm going to have to go back and listen to that a little bit later. I'm sure that was funny to listen to, knowing him. But here comes the Jackets.
He was probably very casual about it.
Yeah, he's like, we're good, is what I could tell.
I'm not bleeding. We're fine.
No, he wasn't. So that might be part of the dialogue. But the Jackets now finally seem to be establishing a little bit of zone time. I mean, if nothing else, like, as soon as I say that, Dallas clears it out. But for both of these teams, right? I mean, like, you want to try to establish some zone time to see if you can force either one of your opponents to draw a penalty, or to take a penalty, I should say. And neither of these teams have done it really at all this game. I mean, I think the established zone time, or the lack thereof, is part of the reason that you haven't seen any calls. I mean, no real need if you're either one of these teams to commit a penalty. So, yeah, I mean, both teams still clogging up that neutral zone, and it is just what was a really exciting game in the first is kind of turned into a little bit of a snooze fest, in the sense that really neither team since that Dallas goal has been able to make this happen.
I mean, I can't say that I'm like, obviously I said earlier that the Blue Jackets need to keep themselves out of the box, but I can't say I'm necessarily like super mad that there have been no penalties, because after we played Boston the other day and there was just so many penalties, I'm okay with it. I wouldn't be mad if Dallas committed a penalty, and whatever version of our power play could be hodgepodge together to see how that works. But, it's just been kind of boring.
We do this thing where the games we end up live streaming for end up not having a ton of entertainment factor. Now, I will say we did a game in the playoffs. It was LA and Edmonton. And
which was exciting.
Yeah, and that 1 or 2 overtimes.
2.
God,
because we were up late, because we had agreed to do a West Coast game, and we were up until like 1:30 in the morning.
That sucked. It was fun.
But yeah, I think we've done this. Is this our 4th time doing it? Did we do it 3 times last season?
Yeah,
our first.
We did a couple of Jackets games, and then the playoff game.
We did love all of the questions when we did the playoff game of like, if you guys are a Columbus Blue Jackets podcast, why are you doing a playoff game? Yeah.
So we're living vicariously. We're living vicariously through other playoffs.
We want to remember what it's like to be in the playoffs. But yeah, I think our other 2 games outside of that playoff game have been pretty snooze festy. So bless all of you who are sticking with it with us. Because this is definitely, I mean, and it's not, like Jeremy said, both of these teams are not playing stellar at the moment. They're just kind of back and forth. But
what it looks like, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong here. Carson Meyer is out there with Gustav Nyquist. So definitely some shifting around happening there.
Are we playing my favorite game?
Well, I think in part.
Blue Jackets boggle?
I think just in part because of the injuries. Yeah. Like, I mean, they're probably throwing whoever can go into those spots. I mean, see, it looks like maybe they've put Marchenko up. I don't know. I don't know what the hell they're doing. All I know is that it's, oh my God, what a save on Jamie Benn there by Daniil Tarasov.
Yeah, that was some madness.
Great feed there by Mason Marchment, and he's just not able to capitalize. Jamie Benn's not. And I'm
just as we say that the game is boring, there's just like a massive save, and
I'll take it. Although
I like
will
being
say
proven wrong.
I'd prefer if that was coming on the other side of the ice.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Period, for sure.
Yeah, right now they're just essentially playing a game of keep away. They're not really focused on getting it down in Dallas's end, which is unfortunate.
This is kind of hard a lot.
Because they're acting like they're on the penalty kill and they're not. Like, I understand doing that when you're shorthanded, but let's remember that we're playing at even strength, and you too can try and score a goal.
It sounded like a really wild infomercial.
you too, friends, can also try and score a goal.
Man, another save by Tarasov. That time, it looks like it was on, I don't know who number 24 is for the Stars. Let's pull it up. Oh, my God. Rupa Hintz.
Tarasov is getting all of the orange slices after this game.
You crack me up with some of the things that you say.
They have to get on the plane. Are you assuming that they don't provide them with snacks? They have to get on the plane when they're done with this interesting situation.
No, man. Well, they keep playing like this, no snacks.
That used to be.
That was a good play by Gavrikov there to break that up. But we've got a 3-on-2 for the Jackets, and Kent Johnson draws a penalty, and it looks like, wait, did he? Yeah. The Jackets are going to get the first power play of this game?
Oh, let's see what they put together.
Well, there are 6 seconds left in the period, so nothing really probably this period, but...
Poor Tarasov. He's
been playing really well. So for those of you who don't listen to our show, which I'm going to go on a limb here and say that it might be a lot of the folks who are listening in right now, we actually, Laura is not a fan of analytics, at least in the way that I am sometimes. I love looking, especially when it comes to like goaltending. Like I love like looking at like expected goals total, seeing if goaltenders are playing above or below where they should be. And it's not perfect. The analytics there aren't perfect, but it's always, I think it kind of helps to like illustrate some game flow. And so maybe we'll take a look at that at the end of the first, end of the second, which is right now. And the Jackets lost that face off, and then Dallas has kind of killed the rest of the period off. So my friends, we are going to take another break. Again, this is your chance to fill up your beverage, whether that's an adult beverage or not. Run to the restroom.
Stretch your legs.
Get a snack. It's 8:30. If you haven't eaten dinner yet, maybe do that. And we will be right back with you here in just a second as we're going to watch the Jackets wrap this one up against the Dallas Stars. We'll see how it goes. That's about how all of our third periods are if you're new here. So we will see you on the other side of this break. Laura, I made a mistake.
Oh yeah, what's that?
Yeah, I looked at the analytics.
Oh.
I looked at the analytics when we were at break there, and let's just say Daniil Tarasov's having himself a game.
Yeah, and I'm gonna assume that he's the only one on the Blue Jackets that's having himself a game.
Yeah, it kind of looks like that. So the Jackets expected goal totals is courtesy of Money Puck, 3.29 for the Stars and 1.53 for the Jackets. So I mean, both goaltenders kind of outplaying the rest of their teams here so far. I mean, it's not all grim for the Jackets. I mean, it's grim. Not all grim. So the Jackets, it looks like we've got 3 players that are playing above their share, and that's Kirill Marchenko, Andrew Peeke, and Jake Christensen, and Ken Johnson just a shade under 50% here for expected goals at 5-on-5, which has been the majority of this game. Minus 6 seconds here at the end of that second period. The Jackets will start the third on the power play, so it'll be interesting to see what they piecemeal together to try to make this one work, Laura.
Yeah, I mean, like we joked in the second period before any penalties have been called, we are missing a lot of crucial people that play on both our first and second line of the power play. So it's going to be interesting to see what Lars and his coaching staff comes up with to fill those pretty big holes and see if, I mean, our power play is garbage anyway. So like really at this point, just be in the locker room, say who wants to play on the power play. Whoever raises their hand gets to play.
It does kind of feel that way right now. And I mean, if you look at it, so to your point, just regarding just the myriad injuries that are happening for the Jackets right now, and that's also coupled with the fact that Igor Chinnikov left this game after his first shift, looks like an apparent knee injury. The team is obviously classifying it as a lower body injury, but based on that play, I mean, he got rolled up on. So here's hoping that that's just like a sprain or something, nothing too crazy there for Chinny. But they've been trying to figure out what to do with his spot. It looks like they've really kind of went to Kirill Marchenko and Carson Meyer in that role. And it, Nyquist, Roslovic, and Marchenko have played for 532 together, and Nyquist, Roslovic, and Meyer have played for 335. So it looks like Marchenko is getting more of that time, but for good reason. I mean, the expected goals for when the 3 of them are on the ice is about a 0.3 compared to a 0.25 against. So they're playing pretty okay hockey out there as a pair, or as a trio, I should say. So we'll see how that keeps up. Really, I mean, you look at the Blue Jackets defensively, and that Gavrikov-Bjork pairing, which is usually pretty stellar right now. I mean, it's usually one of the ones that you can expect to play well. Not great tonight. So hopefully
having an off night.
Yeah, they've had better. They have had better than this, and so here's hoping, obviously, that they turn that around a little bit, because the Jackets are getting ready to start the third period here in just a few minutes. And really, I mean, this is not a gimme. The Stars are a good team. If this is a win, it's a good win, but you really want to try to at least go into Philadelphia feeling good about the way that you played. And I don't know, based on that second period, if you could say that the Jackets would feel good about it. I mean, obviously you've got a lot of young guys playing in a lot of roles that they're not used to. You've got a goaltender who's making his less than 15th start in the NHL. I mean, obviously there are some growing pains associated with that, but the Jackets obviously need to try to figure something out here in the third if they want to be competitive, Laura.
Well, and I would hope to, speaking of going into Philadelphia, is that, and I understand riding a hot hand, but I'm hoping that after tonight and just the number of shots that Terry's had to face and him carrying the weight of this team tragedy on his shoulders for the last 3 games, that they're going to have to make Elvis go in tomorrow against Philadelphia. Not that I think Elvis is refusing to play. I don't think that is the case. I have a lot of thoughts about that situation, but they're going to have Elvis start in Philadelphia tomorrow. But I mean, not to get the tangent on to Philadelphia, but Philadelphia is having its own level of issues, and our favorite former coach is stirring the pot a lot.
I love it.
I mean, he did it. He did it with Patrick Laine, and he's doing it with Kevin Hayes now, and benching star players who are scorers is Torts' favorite thing to do.
I mean, he's nothing but consistent. I mean, anybody who acts surprised by this kind of a move by John Tortorella has only paid attention to his YouTube clips where he's cussing out Brooksy in New York. Like, that's it, where he's starting fights in Vancouver. This is John Tortorella to a T, right? I mean, like, you're watching a live stream of two people who have a very fond opinion of John Tortorella, like, albeit that he probably should have quit in Columbus a year earlier. He planned to. The leadership core asked him to stay, and he did. So all of that is to say, like, if you're surprised by what's happening in Philadelphia and the way that John Tortorella is holding his players accountable, you haven't been watching John Tortorella throughout his career, right? I mean, like, that is not atypical for him. And interesting that Kevin Hayes says something, right? I mean, like, that's not normally not always the MO of a player who's been benched. And so I've seen some comments of people saying, well, clearly he didn't get it. Like, clearly he didn't get the message. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know. Philadelphia, they don't go tonight.
No, I don't think that they play tonight.
So, I mean, that is something that is just comical to see. Like, well, let's see if maybe it happens again tomorrow. But while we're at it, and while we're looking at the different games that are happening, let's do a little bit of around the league. So the Red Wings and the Capitals are tied at 2-2. Fun game, looking like it's happening in Boston, and it's 5-3 Bruins up on the Panthers. Who's in net for the Panthers?
Is it Bob?
No, it's Spencer Knight. So Spencer Knight's allowed 5 goals on 19 shots. Woof.
Oh, that has to be one of his first couple of games back because he's been out for a little bit.
Yeah, let's look at it. So Spencer Knight.
I do feel like that's an arch enemy situation in Florida between him and Bob.
Yeah, that's probably true. So Spencer Knight is actually gone he hasn't gone since December 6th. That was the last game that he was in for. And so this is his 5th game of the year, it looks like. So, I mean, Spencer Knight's good. I mean, obviously you're playing a Boston team that is, like, excellent. So that obviously is a little bit of a precursor as to why that might be happening down there. But yeah, I mean, who else is going tonight? So you've got the Preds and the Oilers, Sean, they're not getting brutalized like you thought they might. It's a plus. Let's look to see. Bring that comment on back here. Where did it go? Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna find it. Okay, here we go. Things are looking okay right now. Matthias Ekholm has the goal for Nashville, and Jesse Puljujarvi, good for him. There's a part of me that does pull for Jesse Puljujarvi a little bit, just because I'm sad. Like, I like his interview the other day, like where he was like, I don't know if the NHL is a place for me. Like, that sucks. like for a player to come out and say that kind of a thing. So I'm honestly kind of like rooting for Jesse Puljujarvi, especially like there's that little bit of a connection with Columbus because he was the presumed 3rd overall pick in the 17 draft, whatever year, 16, I think. And the Jackets go with Pierre-Luc Dubois, which, like, everything that happened aside was the right pick. I mean, like, you can't say that Pierre-Luc Dubois is not a better hockey player than Jesse Puljujarvi in the NHL, but nevertheless, and Jack Campbell had an assist on the Puljujarvi goal, so goalie point.
Oh.
But yeah, so there's a part of me that roots for him just because I like hate seeing somebody be down on themselves like that, just in life in general. Like, that's the kind of person I am. So hopefully he figures it out. But all that is to say, Sean, I'm glad that your Predators are not getting destroyed the way that you thought that they were going to. But also, end of the first there. So the night is still young. Sorry, I don't think that's helping. I don't think that was a helpful thing for me to say. But
I was going to say, helping or hurting? Helping or hurting?
Hurting, without a doubt. But yeah, so Laura, I mean, just what are your thoughts? I mean, kind of going back to thinking about Philadelphia tomorrow for the Jackets. What are your thoughts about the Kevin Hayes benching there?
I mean, I read a couple of articles about it because honestly it was like the hot goss over the weekend towards benching him. And I immediately thought of when he benched Patrick Laine. Like, I just immediately thought of the huge scandal of him benching Patrick Laine. It wasn't for a whole game, but it was like in the middle of a game. And he benched him for like
No, he got scratched the next game because there
Oh,
was
that's right. He
there was
did.
a
He
drama
did.
between, and this was actually part of the issue when Brad Larson got hired head coach because everybody thought there was going to be a problem. Him and Brad Larson got into it on the
Mm-hmm.
bench during that game that he got benched during. And
Yes.
so that led into a suspension of type, like not
Mm-hmm.
literally, but kind of, by being healthy scratched in the next game.
A go to your room without dinner situation. But from what I can tell, and I haven't watched a ton of Philadelphia hockey, just enough to know that they're like struggling similarly. They had a pretty good start, but they have started to fall off of that, and have been struggling as of late. And it just seems that it's kind of again kind of a similar situation to Patrick too. Is a player who, yes, they're scoring, but they're not following through with what the coaching staff wants them to do outside of that too, which is like play a full, like a well-rounded game and like help out other players and stuff when they're on the ice. And, Torts' philosophy is like, he doesn't care if you're the top scorer on the team. If you're not following his direction and you're not doing all that you can for the betterment of the entire team, then, and I'm sure that he didn't just do it on a whim. This is a conversation that they have been having for a while, and whatever Hayes did in the game prior to him being scratched probably set Torts over the edge, and he was just like, fine, if you're not going to listen, then I'm going to make you sit out and you can watch from the press box and learn to understand that you're going, because that's the kind of play that Torch coaches, is this like entire team mentality. He did it in Columbus, was successful for the most part with it in Columbus, and Philadelphia as a franchise is in a place where they are going through kind of I wouldn't say necessarily like a full rebuild, but like they're going through a restructure and trying to find their rhythm again so that they can be competitive for the playoffs. And Torts has a very specific type of team that he builds. And that's what I'm assuming the Philadelphia ownership was wanting when they decided to hire him.
Yeah.
And if Hayes isn't on board, Torts is going to hold him out until he is. So,
yeah,
sorry about you.
Yeah, correct. And Elliot Friedman on the 32 Thoughts podcast said that as for Kevin Hayes, this is a guy who's on pace for 76 points. I've heard that this has been brewing. I've heard Tortorella has told Hayes before that he doesn't like the way he plays without the puck all the time. I've looked at Hayes' contract. In his deal, there's about $14 million in bonuses. Almost all of that is paid off. Next year, there is no bonus. I have to tell you, I can't help but look at this contract and say, is this going to be a buyout at the end of the year? And, I mean, I have to say,
fans will freak out, I think.
Who will?
Fans.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, Kevin Hayes is definitely one of the best players on that team. Like, there's no denying that. I think the bigger issue with that is I mean, like, there's a play against the Devils that night before where he just got made to look stupid. And I think that those are the kind of plays that, like, nothing will piss Torts off faster than that kind of a play where, like, somebody just makes you look like a fool on the ice. And if he can think it's because it's of effort, like, you're out of luck. Like, if John Tortorella thinks that you made a mistake because of the effort you're putting into it, man, don't want to be you. Like, don't have any desire to be you. So
effort and dedication and loyalty and drive is very, very important to John Tortorella. And if players in Philadelphia aren't aware of that, they will be, which would have been helpful for all of them if Cam was playing, because Cam obviously spent a majority of his time in Columbus playing for Torts. So he could have been a great, like, sort of translator middleman for those of who were not familiar.
I bet he takes on a little bit of that role in the room, even if he's not on the ice. I bet he still is involved a little bit here and there. And so we got a fun little comment here from Padres fan. They said, "Are you two brother and sister? You guys look almost like identical twins." We're not. We are not. And
we're not.
You tickled Laura with that comment, I have to tell you.
Yeah, because I'm older than him. So
Don't say
I
by
do
how
not.
much.
I'm not. But no, we were just best friends. We met working at for the same college 7 years
Don't
ago.
say that. Oh my God. Yeah, it was. It was like 7 years ago we would have met.
We've literally
Oh,
been
God.
through just absolute madness in that 7 years, and also decided to start a podcast in the middle of a global pandemic.
Sure did.
But no, I'm actually glad that he asked if we were brother and sister, because most people ask if we're married,
That is true. We do get the "Are you married?" question, and the answer to that question is
which would be
no.
sad if we were married and lived in different states.
That is true. That is true.
But no, we are just best friends. Jeremy introduced me to hockey. He took me to this is actually, I've been meaning to bring this up. Tomorrow's my hockey anniversary.
I'm so sorry. Oh, hey. Nope.
No.
No.
All right. No,
Laura.
tomorrow is
Go
the
ahead.
5th anniversary of my very first Blue Jackets game.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, you did this to me.
Yeah, I really am sorry.
But no, we are like very similar in certain ways. So we usually get like the dating, or I think this may be the first time we've been asked if we were siblings, but
Which, like, we, for all intents and purposes, we are. Like,
yeah, very much so.
not by blood, but we might as well be. And Laura, to top it all off, Padres fan says, "You look really great for your age," and then says, "Are you guys 25 now?" And I will say, one of us is 25.
It's not me. But thank you. That was like, I'm not going to go into it, but this year has been rough, and so that means a lot to me. Thank
Laura
you.
Sobbing on the
I do.
live
I will.
stream.
I'm a crier. I have
She
cried
is
on
a
our
crier.
podcast.
We released our
So
150th
don't compliment
episode.
me too much, or I will just start crying.
Yeah, we release our 150th episode tomorrow, and I have to say that I think Laura cries on at least 10% of our episodes.
Yeah, for various things.
In a good way. Like, not in a way that's like, what is she doing? But like,
the Cam crying was not in a good way.
We can talk about that later. But Padres fan, you're welcome here anytime, because you said that we both seem like we have a really good connection, and that it's very obvious that both of you love hockey. Against our better judgment, we do. Like, against our better judgment, specifically Blue Jackets hockey, we love it. But
thank you. That's such a lovely thing to say.
That is really kind. You like I said, you're welcome here whenever, my friend. You can just keep them coming, keep it going, because this game is not doing it for us. So you can keep it going. The Jackets really just generated. I mean, they generated one chance off of the penalty. Ringing off the post, a little bit of a kerfuffle there in Ottinger's crease, but.
And they didn't allow a shorthanded goal, so like we'll take that as a win.
Laura, I'm gonna do it. Are you ready? I'm gonna do it.
Oh God.
Shut out.
No.
Shut out. No, I'm saying it so he doesn't get one. I'm like,
jinxing it. Okay.
Jake Ottinger's going to get a shutout in this game, folks. Shutout for Jake Ottinger coming soon.
Oh, please God. One of you people. I almost this one of the reasons why we don't do these a ton is because I have a really hard time with the not swearing part. If you listen to our show, we have an explicit rating for a reason.
We earn it.
We earn it for sure.
And so, Padres fans, so yes, we do live in different states, but we are both Blue Jackets fans. So I live in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I moved here for work. I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio. Laura is still in Columbus, Ohio. So we are just connected still through that.
When we started the show, he was still living in Ohio. He didn't move until almost a year after we started the show. So
almost. Yeah.
Yeah, because our 2-year anniversary is in January.
I keep getting it confused because we're on season 3 of like covering the team and like doing a podcast, but it's only been 2 years because of the COVID season.
Yes.
Our friend Yuli says, "Hi, Hans, miss you, Yuli. We miss you too."
Yuli.
Keep peace, my friend. Yuli is from Finland, and so all the love for Yuli.
We miss you too. Hopefully we're going to see you next week at a game. So when Jeremy's back home in Columbus. So
It's about that time of year, as long as there's not a blizzard.
That is true.
Looking forward to it. And so Padres fan said, "What's your other show?" I'm intrigued now. I just want to hear you guys cuss because it'll be funny.
Do you want me to do the thing that I do best? Telling people where they can find us?
Let's go at the next commercial break, just in case the Jackets decide to score.
Okay. But in the meantime, our show is called Subjectively Speaking. But in our next TV timeout,
I'll throw a comment in here too, so you guys can visualize how that's spelled. So that's in there now. You can check it out. Oh man, that went to every one of the networks, though. Everyone's gonna be so confused. Oops.
Everyone on the network's like, guys, you're not the only podcast here.
Oh,
we are right now.
Padres fan said, "Where can we find it?" Yeah, Laura, I'm gonna have to tee you up here in a second to give your spiel. We'll do it. Next commercial should be coming here in the next 2 minutes of gameplay, so we'll do our own little commercial here for Subjectively Speaking during that one.
And he's doing this because I do this at the end of every one of our shows, and
he does.
With the exception of 2 crucial times, I am stellar at doing it.
Yeah, so. I will say this is one of the environments where you would mess it up, like on the.
But I won't. Since this game is so not great, we can tell the side story. We were on another group's podcast, another Blue Jackets related podcast.
We can shout them out. It's the CBJ Artillery.
Yeah,
they're like the
CBJ
OG.
Artillery.
They're the OG Blue Jackets like podcast and like all that
yeah.
kind of stuff.
If
so,
you're
a lot of us is inspired by them, and they're great people. And go check them out if you haven't.
Yeah, they're who helped, like, also the guys that do it also helped, like, name the Blue Jackets fans. Like, they came up with the 5th line, all that sort of stuff. Like, great guys. So we were on their show just for, like, a little interview situation. And Jeremy, we're ending up, and Jeremy goes, "Okay, this is, like, your time to shine." I was so nervous. It was also in a bar. I couldn't hear very well. And I just completely... just messed up every single part of what I have said for now 100, will be 150 episodes, just at a very crucial thing. Because the Artillery is a much larger show than we are. And so, I messed it up when we were trying to bring more people to our show. So,
and that is so okay. And I will give you some credit. It wasn't as big of a mess up as you think it was. You just maximized it because you do that, as we all do. We make little mistakes like that. But yeah. So to your point, we're okay telling some side stories here and there because this game hurts to watch.
Yeah, I just got a text from our friend Megan, who is at the game, and she was like, "I'm super bored," and I was like, "Me too, girl," and I'm at home. So,
Gus Nyquist. Oh man, what a play! And he can't. Oh man. I don't know peace. I don't know happiness. I don't know peace. I don't know joy. I don't know. I know sorrow. I can tell you that.
We do know sorrow. She's the top of our contact list.
Yeah, she's a companion of ours. So we'll see. I mean, the Jackets. I mean, this period, our control, they've got 5 shots on goal to Dallas's 0. They're coming out and they're getting a couple of opportunities here. That power play was a big help to that. And so if they can just find a way to capitalize on this a little bit, we've got an odd man rush here a little bit turned over. Okay. Because why not, right? Because why would that not be where?
Well, and my almost concern now is obviously I don't want them to get a shutout, but my concern now is we tie it up and end up taking this ridiculous game into overtime.
You're a scary person in overtime. This is.
I hate overtime.
Our people are going to be scared.
I absolutely hate it. I think it's the worst, and I'll probably have to leave the stream if it goes to a shootout because I won't be able to.
You out if it goes to a shootout. I'm removing you.
I won't be able to contain the no cursing on YouTube situation because I hate shootouts. I think they're the worst way to determine a game. There's multiple episodes if you want to hear a full rant on my opinion on shootouts in the NHL, but
I think we actually have an episode that's called Anti-Shootout Podcast.
I think we do. I think it's from last season, though.
It is, yeah, not this season. Have we won shootout this year?
Well, I think we've only had one, yeah. And we lost. Oh, no. We've had two. We lost 1-1-1, I think. But you as the analytics guy can double check my memory on that.
I'm happy to do it. You know me. But before I do that, Laura, it's commercial break time, which means that you get to tell the good people where they can find us, where they can listen to more Subjectively Speaking.
Yes. So we are Jeremy and Laura, co-hosts of Subjectively Speaking, a Blue Jackets fan podcast that is spelled CBjectively. So it's pronounced subjectively, but obviously CBJ. We love a good pun situation. So you can find us on social media. We are on Twitter and Instagram at SubjectivelyPod. You can follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube, because we do have our own YouTube channel at Subjectively Speaking. We have a couple fun, we've gotten some great opportunities to interview really cool people, and we did our first player interview this season. Those are up on YouTube. And if you want to listen, as some of you have said, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Mm-hmm. Most people find us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, but we are on most big carriers of podcasts. We post out to all of those. So again, it's CBjectively or Subjectively Speaking. Neither one of us is wearing any merch, or I would show our logo. I might actually pull it up on my phone, but it's cute little hockey stick microphone with the Ohio flag. We have a really incredible graphic designer. No, it's going to be really small and might not even focus. Yeah, it's not even focusing, but we are under the Hockey Podcast Network and also sponsored by DraftKings. So even if you can't find us through the spelling, you can go to the Hockey Podcast Network website, and they have a direct link for our show as well. Shout out to our network. We love you guys. But yeah, if you want to listen, come on over. And if you like us and want to give us a little Christmas gift, you can give us a 5-star rating. You can actually rate us on Spotify too, but most importantly, you can rate us on Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star and show us a little love. But I will warn you, we do have explicit warnings for a reason. We do curse a lot more on our actual show. We just can't do it on YouTube because we don't want to get demonetized. So
I mean the FPM, the F words per minute, we both probably drop it 3 or 4 times in an episode. It's not every other word, but
yeah, but you as of late have been doing this internal contest of which one of us will say it first on an episode.
It's because
you get so excited when I say it first.
Yeah, because I'm self-conscious, because I usually do it in the first 2 minutes and then I right size it. I or bring myself back in. And it's mostly because we've been recording recently after just really rough Blue Jackets games, and so I just have a lot of feelings. This might not be a lot better. We've been trying to decide if we're going to do our 150th episode as a live recording. We still might. We haven't really talked about it. And it happens right after this. We're going to get off of this, get into the Subjectively Speaking brand, and then do this whole thing again. But yeah, this one could be hard to talk about. This game could be.
Yeah, but we also have a terrible
other games that aren't fun to talk about.
Yeah, a terrible Bruins game. I was trying to think if we had played Tampa, but we had a terrible Bruins game to talk about as well.
We do, yeah. And we've got a couple other comments. So Yuli's reaffirming you and says, when you mess up at live TV, it helps make you human, not too read from a paper style. You can say a lot of things about us. There is only one segment of our episode that is read by paper, and it is for these guys down here. These DraftKings guys.
For DraftKings. Mm-hmm.
Other than that, we barely even put together a show flow. We just kind of go with it and hope for the best, which does bite us in the butt sometimes. But
And
We
even
figure
when
it
we
out.
do put together a show flow, it doesn't always. We're also very we're very chatty. I, in particular, am very chatty. So sometimes we can't even get to everything that we plan to talk about in a show. So yeah, we are very off the cuff. We wanted our show to feel very relatable, and for people of any level of hockey knowledge, that's one of our major goals.
Yeah.
And also just a show that feels really inclusive and welcoming to people.
Mhm.
So that's kind of our mantra, and one of the reasons why we decided to take Jeremy's shower thought and turn it into a legitimate entity. Because that's
Yeah,
right, he came up with our show in the shower.
I did, yeah. It's just one of those moments. Specifically, I came up with the name in the shower. I had been wanting to do a Blue Jackets podcast for a minute, and then as I was showering, I was like, "Huh, that's good. That is good." And if you listen to our show, you'll learn that we struggled with the name for a second, but we figured it out eventually. And so that's all
Yeah,
that matters,
we actually pronounced it differently for like the first 25 episodes. It was always spelled the same way, but we pronounced it differently.
Well, and it's
And
time for a subtle flex because
oh, do you
so
have
we won the 2022
Oh,
Columbus Podcast of the Year, Best Entertainment Podcast. I feel like such a D-bag right now, but
yeah,
I'm
we're
only doing
award
this.
winners,
We're
y'all.
only doing this because look at how they spelled it.
Yeah, that's right. Way to keep us humble. They spelled our name wrong on the award that we won this past fall. So
Okay.
we are meaning to get it fixed. We will get it fixed at some point. But
One day,
yeah,
we will.
we are technically the 2022 Columbus Podcast Awards Entertainment Podcast of the Year. We were also a finalist for Podcast of the Year. So we were one of the 4 finalists. So we're gonna toot our own horn a little bit for that. But and for being active for little less than 2 years, like we're pretty proud. So
That is true. That is true. And then Padres fan says, "You two seem like so much fun." You're really
thank
kind.
you.
We try. We try. We try really, really hard. Aid says, "How much longer is left in this game?" Too much time. Too much time if you're curious. But to answer to your question, we've got about 8-9 minutes left in this one. So enough time for the Jackets to figure out how they're gonna make this one work. Man, it's been tough. It has been tough. Right now, we're showing you the third period stats. Let's pull up the stats for the game. I mean, thankfully for the Jackets, they found a way to kind of slow the Stars down in this period, but the Stars still leading in shots, obviously still leading on the scoreboard, which is where it matters the most. But once you really start to get into like the physicality of this game, I mean, 31 hits for the Jackets to the 8 for the Stars. It's rough. It's rough out here in these streets for the Stars, but they're still finding a way to put it in the back of the net. And I mean, you look at it, kind of dominating in the faceoff circle, which has kind of been the story for the last couple of games for the Jackets. It just hasn't been going their way in pretty much any circumstance. And so we've obviously got to figure that one out sooner rather than later. Paul says, "Wish the Jackets gave us a little." And Paul, oh, okay.
We do too.
More to cheer for this year. I was like, this is enough of a statement. Like this, you said it all with this right here. I wish the Jackets would just give us a little. I mean, I would be totally naive to say that this is the lineup that the Jackets thought would be playing in game 30 something of the year. Obviously, we mentioned it earlier. The Jackets currently playing with 9 guys who have played less than 100 games in the NHL, 7 of which have played less than 50, including the goaltender that's starting tonight, Daniil Tarasov. So it's challenging to to imagine a situation where the Jackets would be here, but we are. And so, I mean, to even be competitive in this game, to really give the Stars a little bit of a fight here. I mean, all of it, honestly, like is courtesy to Daniil Tarasov. I mean, he's made a couple of huge saves, one more now, to keep the Jackets in this game. I mean, if he's not, and I mean, like, this is not assigning any sort of value to any of our other goaltenders, but if Tarasov's not playing the game that he is, this game could easily be 2-0, 3-0. But that said, Jake Ottinger is also playing a pretty good game.
I mean, yeah, he's faced 26 shots. Like, he's also playing great. I don't want him to get a shutout, but I am not in control of that because if I was, we'd have at least one goal.
Did you say shutout? Do you think Jake Ottinger is going to get a shutout?
Yes.
Shutout? Shutout. I'm jinxing it again. Got to play along.
Oh, I thought for some reason. Okay, so for those who don't listen, again, most of you haven't yet, but something that Jeremy likes to do sometimes is tell me that I say things wrong. And so that's what I thought you were doing. And I was like, that is not, I was like, that's not happening. I was like, you're having a stroke and thinking that I'm saying shutout wrong.
I just want you to say it more.
Oh, but I then in turn, when he does this to me, like to remind him of the trauma I have from having a very defined speech impediment as a child. So.
And that's okay. Mm-hmm. You outgrew it, and here you are today.
Sure. Still getting ridiculed.
So somebody asked, who hid the puck? I don't know. If you could find it, though, could you give it to the Jackets?
And particularly in Dallas's end.
Paul, you're going to not make a friend in Laura. Laura's a big Elvis fan. But what's the score if Elvis was in net? I mean, I think he gives up more than the one that Terry has given up.
No comment.
Sorry. I'm so sorry.
No comment.
And Padres fan is doing a better job of keeping tabs on our Twitter than we are. Did you post a picture of Christmas cookies on our Twitter today?
Oh, are you I'm acting like he can respond right away to me, but are you talking about the Stinger cookies? If they are, I know a listener of ours who's actually from my hometown is an incredible baker and did these beautiful Stinger cookies for her kid's birthday, but she's like a legit like formal baker, does beautiful wedding cakes, all that sort of stuff. Her name is Jess. But I reposted it. I am, however, a baker myself who does stuff like that and does little sales and whatnot, but I've only posted pictures of my pie on one of the pies that I do on our
it's good
social media, but no, if you're referring to the Stinger cookies, those are beautiful, and her name is Jess McConnell, and she is absolutely fantastic. If you live in Ohio and ever need a cake or cookies, or she even does like these really intricate like individual desserts. She is great. One day we'll have her make cookies for us, but
yeah, please. I love a cookie, but so we've got one power play in 55 minutes. Yeah, it's not been a game full of a lot of special teams. I mean, and for the Jackets, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So this team obviously is 32nd in the league on the power play, middle of the road on penalty kill. Although I will say, like, that's big news because nope. That's big news because this team has just been really undisciplined recently. A lot of penalty minutes here racking up for the Jackets. And so to see them play a game that's seemingly been a little bit more disciplined, even if it's not the most exciting game that you've ever seen in your life, which is a real deterrent from like where this game started, because this game was chaos in the first period. It slowed down quite a bit to just be a lot of like blind leading the blind a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But overly structured and just not really high producing. But you are right in saying that they have been incredibly undisciplined over the last couple of weeks. I mean, Sean Corrali himself got 18 penalty minutes in one game. So, and we have a very, like, again, our players are very passionate, and sometimes when things are not going our way, which is frequent, they tend to act out of turn, and not in like the appropriate timing, because they're really bad at timing too. Like, sure, like start a fight, do this, that, or the other thing when it's a kind of a good opportunity. Don't do it when we're losing terribly and it's the worst time ever for us to go on the penalty kill. Like,
correct.
Timing and like attitude and stuff like that has not been great as of late.
It has not,
So
among other things for the Jackets, but we're under 5 minutes here. Still 1-0 Dallas up on the Jackets. There's about, like I said, a little under 5 minutes left. And another opportunity there for Dallas. I couldn't tell if that just missed or if that hit the pipe. I couldn't tell exactly where that one went. But yeah, I mean, Dallas is controlling a lot of the play still. The Jackets have had a couple of opportunities here in this period. It's probably, been one of their better periods tonight, but it still just hasn't been enough to get a really quality opportunity on Jake Ottinger. There was a little bit of an opportunity there at the beginning of the period. The Jackets had a power play to start the period, and they just couldn't capitalize. A couple of shots, one specifically off the post. Almost hits his back, goes in, doesn't. So we'll keep playing here. Hopefully the Jackets can find a way to grab an equalizer here toward the end of the third, but yeah, you've got to expect that at some point here relatively soon you'll see Daniil Tarasov do your favorite thing, and that's leave the net agape.
Oh God. And I know for a lot of teams, like that's a great thing. Like when their goalie leaves the net and they can have a sixth skater on. It's just, I think every single time that we've done it this season, the opposing team has scored at least one empty net goal on us,
it hasn't gone great.
There's just so many things, but the Blue Jackets are just not in a state. And sometimes Lars decides to do it. And like, again, similarly with tempers and penalties and such, Lars decides to do it in just like the worst situation. And like Elvis was playing in our game against Pittsburgh and was trying to Lars was trying to call him to the bench. And this isn't necessarily Lars's fault, but like he shouldn't have done it anyway. We were losing so badly to Pittsburgh, and he tries to take Elvis in. And of course, we turn the puck over, and Pittsburgh is just flying towards the empty net. And Elvis is halfway to the bench, runs back, and just Superman throws himself in front of the goal and the puck, and was able to stop it in that. Oh no, he wasn't able to stop it. It ended up going in.
Yeah.
There's a really great picture of him attempting to stop it, and it is bad news bears. So no, much like I hate overtime, I super hate, at least this season, us pulling the goalie at any point. But
well, I mean,
maybe it'll be better this time.
We're not exactly great with the man advantage, as we kind of talked about. So even if it's 6-on-5, it's still not exactly an ideal situation for this team. But oh man, what a chance there! That hit the post, that hit the crossbar, and ended up ricocheting out. That was probably one of the better opportunities in this period for the Jackets, if not in the whole game.
Oh, there were definitely people. I'm again delayed, but there were definitely people behind the net that thought it went in because they stood up and
cheered a little bit.
Yeah.
So this one's icing. Got 2:19 left in the game. Let's get a better look at this. So Jack Roslovic gets it in front to Gus Nyquist, and Gus Nyquist, not the crossbar. That's my fault. That goes off of the right post. Man, he had Ottinger beat. You just got to put that one away.
Oh, yeah, just slid right across the crease.
I only know pain. But real quick, while we're waiting for this face-off, RJ Calabro, Sports NHL Schedule Scoreboard update, gave us a little bit of an update here in the comment section for all the other games in the league. Let's run through them real quick. So 3-5 Florida's losing to the Bruins, 3-3 against between Red Wings and the Capitals, 2-2 Edmonton and Nashville, 0-0 still early here in Colorado, and then 6 days until Christmas. So that's what really matters here, folks. Looks like they're going to take a commercial break here.
I mean, probably to just let Tarasov catch his breath.
Yeah, correct. He needs it right now. But then speaking of Tarasov, so is goalie Tarasov a player from UFA? So I'm assuming you mean unrestricted free agency. If you don't, correct me if I'm wrong. But essentially, no. He was drafted by the Columbus Blue Jackets a number of years ago and was playing in Russia. Came over last year at the end of his season, right? No. Came over in at the end of the COVID season, the COVID shortened season, played a couple of games in Cleveland, didn't play in Columbus. Last year, goal was to have him be in Cleveland, be the starter in Cleveland. Injuries prohibited that, similar to this year. And he ended up playing
both his
Columbus.
own and ours.
So he ended up playing in Columbus a couple of games, played somewhat well, and ended up actually sustaining an injury that required him to have hip surgery that took him out for the rest of the season. And so Daniil Tarasov ended up not being able to do much there last year. So lost out on that year of development. But what I will say about Daniil Tarasov is he's somebody who the Jackets have felt pretty good about for a while. And when Elvis Merzlikins started to bubble and he started to, started to seem like he was going to be, the next great Blue Jackets goaltender.
Still could be.
Could be. But everybody basically was like, okay, but that's the Daniil Tarasov guy. That the Daniil Tarasov guy seems like he's somebody that could be better. Like he could be the next Blue Jackets star goaltender, not just like goaltender for the franchise and like does well, but like he seems like he could be the guy. And he's played well. I mean, he leads the team in goals against and save percentage. Don't look into that too far. It's not great numbers. It's not good. But it's better than where Jonas Korpisalo and Elvis Merzlikins sit right now. And so we'll see what happens with Tarasov. I mean, he's kind of in this weird limbo because he's not getting the opportunity to play a ton, although now the Jackets are riding him a little bit more frequently. But we'll see.
We have pulled him. We have pulled him out.
He is out of his net. A goaltender's job is to tend the goal, and he is not doing that right now, courtesy of Brad Larson. So we got the extra skater on for the Jackets. Looks like Kent Johnson, Johnny Gaudreau, Jack Roslovic, and the Stars are going to not score. Score? Not score. Not score. Wow, that was a journey.
Oh, no, he does have a stick. I thought for a second that Jack Roslovic didn't have a stick. And I was like, oh, come on.
Who just got their pocket picked? Kent Johnson. Come on, buddy. No. Oh, my God. Watch that happen. You're a couple seconds before me. Watch that happen. That one ends up being icing, but, man, that skipped right by the Jackets goal.
Yeah.
Woof.
While we're waiting for this face-off, but also lastly on Tarasov, he's still really young for a goaltender. He's only 23 years old. As Jeremy said, I love goaltending. So I know a lot about these sorts of things. Most goaltenders don't enter the NHL level of playing until they're like 25, 26 years old. So there's still a lot of time in Terry's career, hopefully. I mean, he did have a major hip surgery last year, but he seems to have recovered really well from that. And like Jeremy said, he has been, out of our three goaltenders that we've had play this season, has been the best. He hasn't played as many games, obviously, as Elvis and Corpy, but he has played the best out of the three of them.
He has, yeah. And we've got a timeout here. The Jackets trying to draw up something to try to figure out how to tie this one up. Here's hoping that they figure something out there because they definitely need that game-tying goal to avoid Jake Ottinger getting a shutout.
And you know that it's stressful times because Pascal Vincent's head is very shiny right now when he was giving that play-by-play.
It definitely is. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, I mean, the Jackets have a face-off in the Dallas zone, and they've just got to capitalize here. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. They just have to make this happen, and they're not. It's a goal. Dallas just scored. So that's all she wrote, folks. I mean, obviously still a minute and 6 seconds left in this game. It's not exactly impossible that the Jackets could find a way to score 2 goals in the next minute. But when you haven't scored 1 in 59, that's not exactly an ideal recipe for success. That one sucks. That one really sucks.
Yeah.
Sean Crowley can't win the face-off. And Johnny Gaudreau just can't make a play there. and puck is sent down the length of the ice, and that one goes in for Jason Robertson because, I mean, not that the kid needed more goals, but
I just saw the whole 24th goal this season and just laughed because we don't have a single player that's even close to that. I think Boone has 11.
Boone Jenner leads the team in goals. He's got 11. So could definitely be better there. Back to having an empty net. Let's see what happens. Obviously.
Oh, please do not. Oh, but they may. I was just going to say, please don't let them get a third or another.
Correct. Oh, they might. So this game is over now, though. Unfortunately, Padres fan, I have to say that I think you might be on to something. It looks like this one, it's all she wrote. Obviously, you hope that you can break Jake Ottender's shutout. Oh, they did! Johnny Gaudreau. Johnny Gaudreau scores a goal. And no, was it Ken Johnson? They're showing Ken Johnson on.
I don't care. Whichever one of them.
TV, but.
I just couldn't with a shutout. I just couldn't. Fans aren't even standing. God love them.
No, that was wow.
Was it Ken?
No, he did not. That was a backhanded spinning goal. Did that go off of Johnny Gaudreau? I can't tell.
No, as far as I can see, it did not hit Johnny at all. But Johnny's excited.
Let's see if they got 14 and a half seconds left. Let's see what they can do. They control the puck, they get into the zone, and they turn it over, and this game is over. Good God.
Classic Blue Jackets.
Oh yeah. Patty Line tries to make something happen. He doesn't. It can't happen there. This one's over, folks. The Jackets are going to lose 2-1.
Hey, all those times you saying shutout.
It worked.
Making me feel like I was not saying shutout correctly. It worked. So good on you.
That's true. And Padres fan asks, when will you and Laura do another live stream? So soon, maybe. We gotta look at the schedule. We'll sign up for them. We love doing them. They're a lot of fun. We love watching games together. So anytime we get the chance to do that, even if it's with you all, we love to do it. We love to talk about it. And even if we have to not cuss as much, we'll gladly do it whenever we can. So we're definitely looking forward to the next chance that we get to hop on the network and do it. But sincerely, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, wherever you like to get all of your info on social media. Because
we post when we do live streams, so so you'll know if it's going to be us on the channel or not. But
and we do our own. Sometimes.
We do our own.
We actually might do it here in the next 10-15 minutes. Might listen to some Blue Jackets post-game coverage real quick, kind of get a feel for what the players and the coaches think. But then we might hop on and do a live stream of our own. So if we're doing that, follow us on Twitter. The best way you're going to be able to keep up with all of our stuff, and nobody tells you where to follow us better than my co-host, Laura Norman. Laura, where can the good people find us?
Yes, thank you all for joining us tonight. I'm sorry that wasn't a super exciting game, but we appreciate the company and you following along with us. But you can find us on social media, on Twitter and Instagram at Subjectively Pod. You can follow us on Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at Subjectively Speaking. I'm just going to do our whole normal thing. If you want to learn more about us and the story of how we created our show or any of that, we do have a website, subjectivelyspeaking.com. And I repped the merch already, but we do have a merch store, subjectivelymerch.com as well. And then lastly, if you like us and you want to listen to us, you can find us on all major podcast platforms. Top ones like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, all that sort of great stuff. And if you super like us and want to give us a little early Christmas present, you can give us a rating on any of those sites, but particularly Apple Podcasts. If you scroll on down and hit 5 stars, it is our favorite number. We don't know how any of those algorithms work. We just know that they help us get more people to come into our little community, and we were happy to share a piece of our world with all of you tonight, and hope that we'll see you on the next one.
That we do. And until we get the chance to come to you all next time on the network, like Laura said, keep it locked wherever you listen to your shows on our show. So we'll be back here soon, folks. We won't leave you hanging for too much longer. And until next time, we hope you take care of yourselves, take care of one another, and we will talk to you all very soon.
Bye.